Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tournament Kingdom, the first tournament of the year. We're very happy to have you. If you are just now joining us, welcome. We are here going to be witnessing the end of, I believe, Game 1. I believe Game 1 is already over in the tournament, so you got here just in time. We will be getting into the next game very shortly, so if you stick with us, we will be into the second round. We will be having the Kings, BBB, the winners of the last several tournaments they've been in. That's why they are the Kings, versus the Leftovers. I will be swapping over to that pick phase any moment now, but for now it is just going to be me, Miguel Bloomberg, and my lovely co-host. Please introduce yourself so we can get this party underway.
Yeah, I am LaRue. So glad to be here. Of course, my first tournament here with the Tournament Kingdom. Going to be casting for the first time. I'll be the one on the play-by-play here tonight. And of course, joining alongside me, Miguel Bloomberg. He will be on the color. He'll provide his lovely analysis here today. So we will be getting going here momentarily. Just kind of setting things up here, getting the lobby ready to go. And then we'll join you once more for that kick fan phase. But again, Miguel, it's so nice to be here. Of course, I've heard a lot about this place. I've heard a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. That's what I've heard. I'm expecting that. Hopefully, we get ourselves a good first game here in this second round. Again, two very good teams here. Like you said, the Kings, they win these tournaments. They're winners.
They are the winners, more often than not.
We'll see what the Leftovers have here tonight.
Yeah, it's they have definitely been the winners more often than not in terms of the tournaments that have been played thus far. That is why they are named the Kings, but we will have to see if they are up against their match here with the Leftovers. A bit of a standout team we have, not one of the higher ranked teams. We have some power rankings that cumulatively are the scores for all of the players we have. So, for each rank you have above bronze, you have a point, 2.3 points, and you add them all up over across 5 players, and that adds up to your rank score. You'll notice the Kings have 46 points. That's just because when you win a tournament, we throw some extra points your way to kind of have a sort of quantifiable ELO system in the Tournament Kingdom, so you can see who's new, who's got higher ranks, and who has been dominating for longest. So interesting to see if Leftovers can be the kryptonite for our Kings here in the Tournament Kingdom thus far.
Yeah, so the players still filing on in here to our lobby. And one of the things I want to point out here, interesting to see what roles we see on the side of the Leftovers. Kind of just looking at the OP.GGs, kind of just looking at what people have been playing here this season. You notice there's 3 players here with a lot of experience on Enchanters. Not other kind of champions, just Enchanters. Creamy Pie, of course, lots of experience this year. Level 769, plays a lot of games. Not ranked just yet, but wasn't Platinum last season. You see Soraka, you see Yuumi, you see Lux, you see Janna. Then you see Keep Hoping Sucker, Master Tier player, one of the highest we'll see here in this tournament. Also, Lulu, Lux, Senna, those kinds of things there. So I'm interested personally to see where everybody kind of lines up on this side of the Leftovers, and then what kind of champions we see past that point, because you can't really discern a whole lot from their from what they've been doing so far here this season and beyond. Actually, I say, but yeah, I mean, season 2022, Soraka, Yuumi, Lux, Janna, those kinds of things. So, real intrigued to see what kind of happens there. But of course, you take a look here at the side of Kings. See a little more easy to discern there, although you do have a couple of bot laners in the mix. You do have Trado, who actually has played a few Leona games this season, so I would assume he is going to be running some support roles. You also have Wiener Bufen, Nyla, Jinx, Twitch. It's going to be a whole lot of fun here. I think we're going to see some fun picks here in this best of 1.
Yeah, will certainly be interesting. We're going to see if we're going to do a browser draft phase, or if we do it within the client. I will swap to whichever one we do. Speaking of draft phase, personally, I'm curious if K'Sante will make it through a single draft phase in this tournament. He has been dominant. If you've watched any of the current leagues that are playing, they have been either picked or banned, and a common duo I've seen played against him is typically K'Sante versus Jax. I wonder if we'll see that matchup come to fruition here in the tournament, or if we'll see some new picks. So far in the tournament, we have seen Maokai and Yone, so a very typical sort of tank versus carry champion. We'll see which one is dominant. So far, in Game 1, the aggressor pick, the damage pick, the Yone, was the winner and collector of all spoils in Game 1, so we'll have to see if this trend continues on in Game 2.
Yeah, and for sure, I mean, we saw the Maokai in that last game. If you are coming over here from the Tournament King stream, we saw the Maokai, didn't really kind of work out there, but still, I would say very, very strong pick. Definitely one of the highest win rates here at the moment up in the top lane. Actually a bit of a jungler there as well. You can flex him a couple of different ways. So Maokai is definitely a pick. Like you said, K'Sante right now is probably the best top laner in a competitive setting. Of course, solo queue, things are different from there. But as far as competitive-wise, K'Sante has been a menace. C9 using him to great effect this past couple of days as well. So actually, we're just going to go ahead and go right on into normal champ select. So no pro draft here on this one. Totally fine by me, but we immediately see the Maokai ban coming out here from the side of the leftovers. So forget everything you just heard about Maokai. We're not going to see it.
Yeah, so we will be sticking to the traditional draft method here, simply through the client itself. First ban, like you said, the Maokai, not wanting to be seen again. Certainly a strong pick. Tanks, I don't know that tanks have ever been weak since Season 5 in particular, but they are still dominant here, and we'll see it taken away. A supportive pick, Lulu, banned out as the counter. So I wonder if that disincentivizes any hyper carry picks. There are certainly other hyper carry options, but Lulu, one of the premier support hyper carry duo partners. So we'll see if any of the Jinxes or the Yones or the Jaxes are taken off the board, or at least disincentivizing the pick phase thus far.
Yeah, curious to see, by the way, as well, if this is the actual roles that these will be, that they'll be on the side of the leftovers. You have to keep hoping Sucker up on the top of the pick order there, but we saw in the first game, there might be a little bit of swapping here and there, so I don't know if we can take that word for word. But we do see the Lulu ban. We do see the Senna ban come out. They're really targeting the champ pool of Keep Hoping Sucker. Those are two of his most played here champions this season. Already has 25 Lulu games under his belt. So they're really looking toward that support position to really ban out. And maybe kind of ban out a playstyle as well. Both a couple of enabling supports there looking to get that ADC ahead. So you see the Victor and the Zac ban as well. Zac, another strong pick, especially up in the top lane, and then Victor. Victor's just Victor. Victor's always going to be one of those champions who's ever present in the mid lane. He just adds so much to the team. Not going to happen in this game.
Victor is Victor. That is a astonishingly accurate way of putting it. He is just about everything you could want out of a mid laner. He can do wave clear, he can stall, he scales like a monster, he can bully in lane if in the right matchup. He's definitely an all-arounder, solid pick. I don't know if he's ever been out of meta significantly similar to tanks in literal years, so will be interesting to see what, not necessarily an indication of any strategy from the left side pick here, but more or less just taking away some power picks. In contrast, we see the red team banning out the Lux, maybe another targeted ban themselves, but the Sylas is locked in first.
Yeah, it's going to be the Sylas coming through here, and of course, that is a champion that Keep Hoping Sucker does in fact play, kind of looking at some of the other things, some of the other numbers on the other members of this leftovers team. Don't really see that a whole lot. So that could be a Sylas for Keep Hoping Sucker. Now the Aatrox is going to be hovered here by question mark. That's the pick. And so Aatrox, we talked about it a little bit before we came on the screen here. Bruiser itemization has been nerfed a little bit. Death Stance, definitely not the item it used to be. Kind of still gathering data here after the hot fix, after kind of the, well, not a hot fix per se, but how about a mid-patch update for you? It lost its ability haste. It lost a little bit of that AD refresh. So it's not quite the item it used to be, but we'll see if Aatrox really still retains some of that strength. It's going to be paired up with the Sejuani here in the jungle.
Yep, we have a pretty solid Bruiser top lane tank combo. Definitely a pretty standard setup thus far. Can be played in front-to-back teamfight situations or in other areas. So the Kings thus far are keeping their draft fairly consistent and fairly ambiguous in that they can do multiple different things. On the other side, Irelia, definitely not the ambiguous type of pick. Definitely wants to play aggressive into the Aatrox. I mentioned earlier the sort of tank v aggressor top lane matchup we did not get in this matchup. In fact, blue side actually banned out 2 tanks and picked an aggressor lane, only to then be picked alongside the Ivern. So it looks like blue team is looking to go thus far, and we'll see what BBB does to counter.
Yeah, we see the Ivern pick up here. We're going to see the Poppy there
Ooh.
as well.
Is that a flex?
A flex Poppy. I think that's going to be support. Maybe even support Sejuani. I know you got to flash back a few seasons for support Sejuani, but the Poppy, definitely a pickup that's been seen in support throughout the years. So very interesting draft thus far from the Kings. Curious to see where this Poppy goes. I think we're going to see the Aatrox up top. I don't really think there's any question about that. But the Poppy support. That'd be a lot of fun. As a Poppy enthusiast, as my one champion I can play that isn't in fact a mid laner, that's my girl. So let's see where the Poppy goes. Going to be a whole lot of fun here, but we do see a Thresh ban. We see a Heimerdinger ban as well. The Heimerdinger ban could be targeted towards support, believe it or not. It's been a strong support pickup here on the pro side of things. So
Bans thus far, just kind of taking out what positions are left, target banning, be that the support positions, Heimer and Janna definitely prime supports in the current meta. Thresh definitely still viable pick. We'll wonder if they'll ban out the remaining AD carry or just get another support off of the board. Either way, though, the Poppy pick is actually really interesting because it could possibly, if you want to extend every possible scenario credence, could be a three-way flex. You could see it in the jungle if you really wanted to. Maybe that Sejuani gets love back in the support. You could see it in the support position to counter anything. I personally would hedge my bets on that being a top lane Poppy and the Aatrox going mid lane because Poppy will directly counter the Irelia or the Sylas very hard, and this kind of makes it a guessing game for either side of the teams here because if you pick that Poppy to counter the Irelia, then who's to say that Irelia just doesn't go mid to avoid you? So we might see who wants to really play it for comfort-wise, and then maybe we'll see some lane-swapping shenanigans to guarantee that that miserable matchup is indeed sustained, as the Jinx is picked with a very nice front line in front of her.
Yeah, we'll see the Jinx, and like you said, there's a lot of frontline there. We'll get some questions answered, I think, here with this last pickup for the Kings. The Lissandra pick for Water Elf or whoever might be going mid here in this matchup, maybe even top lane as well. Lissandra, another one of those champions who kind of benefited from some of the AP itemization changes, likes that Rod of Ages, really kind of wants to focus on that. Now, here's the Misfortune being hovered, and that, I think, is going to send that Sylas into the support position. I think we're going to see the Sylas support coming out here. The Irelia top, the Ivern in the jungle, the Lissandra mid, and then Sylas down support. Could be Lissandra support as well. Would be a bit cheesy. But here's a Taliyah hover on the other side. And if this is locked in, I think, well, we'll just kind of have to wait and see where everything goes once we actually get on into game. This has been a bit of a wonky draft. No, it's going to be the Swain lock-in. So maybe Swain mid. We'll kind of wait and see. But kind of a fun draft here for our second game of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. 50 seconds on the clock to round out any other questions, and then we have the 3-minute timer, so no pressure. So a couple different narratives to go over thus far. First, blue team. Blue team, we'll see if anything changes, if we even get to see swaps on this side of the game. I believe we do. Blue team probably hasn't swapped everything out yet. But a lot of swap shenanigans going on here on both sides. Blue team in particular, like you said, we think the Sylas support is an option here, but otherwise blue team's picks are all over the map, definitely opting in for a non-traditional composition, looking for different kinds of angles, front to backing outside of it. If traditional front to backs are to be had, you imagine red team wins that. Any oblique angles would also be probably favored towards blue, but an all-out brawl certainly doesn't disadvantage them either. So blue team definitely looking to fight non-traditional in this game thus far. Swapping over to red side as we finally get into the 3-minute spectator delay. Definitely the traditional team. The traditional team here, we do see that Aatrox is actually putting into the top, so we now know that the Poppy is a bot lane pick. Poppy, a very good pick here, counters multiple different champions on blue team. I think that is a definitely a bit of a genius move there to lock in the Poppy, and while also being a strong counter, can then dissuade a lot of other picks while countering a lot of other picks, and you don't even know where it's going to go. So I think a pretty solid draft phase coming out of red team being able to respond to what blue team is putting down. Red team will probably want to fight traditional front-to-back angles, and oblique angles doesn't favor them. Doesn't hurt them either. They can take some 3v3s and 2v2s should it please them. And their damage is also pretty well spread out as well, so I don't believe there will be a lot of obvious focus towards one lane or the other. I think this game is going to be volatile, and we'll see one lane really strike out where the other ones may not.
Yeah, for sure. And so, of course, we see the Irelia up top side, I believe, here for the side of the leftovers. Want to point out, there were some changes to Blade of the Ruined King. Not really too large changes, I would say, but it is one of those items that was adjusted just a few days ago as part of that mid-patch update there. The cooldown's a bit longer. The range on hit damage is longer. Obviously would not matter in terms of Irelia, but it also, you see a little bit less magic damage, bonus magic damage coming out there in the later levels. They kind of nerf the scaling on the item there a little bit. So is it going to be important in this game? I'm not sure. We'll kind of wait and see, but something to keep in mind for Creamy Pie on that Aurelia there. So whenever we see a Sylas, I think it's important to note here, Miguel, what kind of ultimates can you steal there on the other side? And one of the things I want to point out, there's some pretty good ultimates on the other team. You've got the Sejuani ult. That's the one that I think is most important. That gives you a great engage tool if you're able to snag that from the enemy jungler. You also have the Swain ultimate there as well, which I kind of think will fly under the radar there, but that does give Sylas a little bit extra survivability when he's fighting down there in the trenches. I think this is going to be a Sylas, even if it does go support, that still kind of wants to be a secondary damage dealer there. But that Swain ultimate's going to help him stay on the front lines. The World Ender, maybe not as important. Maybe the Super Mega Death Rocket, good for picking somebody off. The Poppy ultimate, it's a good disengage tool, I guess, at its best. But the Sejuani into the Sylas, that does give Keep Hoping Sucker a nice little way to engage if they want to try to get in there and engage the fight themselves, if not through the Lissandra or maybe the Irelia as well. You have a few different ways to engage.
So Sylas will definitely need to choose wisely in terms of which ultimates he wants to use, whether he wants to be the engage or have a more self-buffing ultimate with either the Swain or the Aatrox. Either way, 3-minute delay is up, and we are going to go into the loading phase, and we'll be right back.
And once again, back on here to the Rift as we get going with our second game of the day. I am still stuck in loading screen. Good thing I have the Twitch stream over on the other screen. So I'll join you closely, but I am LaRue on the play-by-play. Once again, joined by my partner for the day, Miguel Bloomberg. And we see a 5-man stack here on the side of the Leftovers. They are going to be looking for the invade here. They're going to run right into Trito, who is going to be standing in that bush.
Got the clear, baby.
He's going to drop the ward. They are going to clear the ward. They are going to at least throw out some ethereal chains there just to maybe kind of check and see, but it's not going to work. They're going to go ahead and back up there. But nice little move there for the Leftovers as we get back on our second game of the day. Of course, we see, once again, the Leftovers. Once again, we see the Kings. The Kings maybe even considered the favorites in this one, considering their past history. We took a look at the bracket earlier. They have the most points of any team in the tournament by far. But this one could go either way as you see some deep vision being placed as well by the Kings.
Yeah, so a pretty traditional start, all things considered, once the dust nearly had to be settled there. We thought maybe we would get a little bit of early action as we saw them run right in to get an early ward. Managed to get the clear, and then everyone backed off. So no harm, no foul. We see it seems that the pick order is not entirely accurate, what with the Ivern being in the middle of the picks, but either way, we can see now that the Sylas, all mysteries are revealed with the Sylas in the bottom lane, the Irelia up top, and the Lissandra in the mid. Lissandra met with the Swain, and the Aatrox meeting the Irelia up in the top lane, as junglers will be leashed, or at least one jungler will be leashed. The Ivern will cry, but he doesn't like leashes anyway, so I think he will be just fine. Matches to look up here. Every lane can be an interesting narrative here, as the Irelia dives in for a little bit of trade damage. Irelia, Aatrox, both champions capable of insane snowball, so that could be a potential lane of interest. I've certainly seen some dirty Lissandra mechanics before, so also an interesting angle. And then you have two hyper carry-esque champions that are able to kind carry a game, I guess. So each lane is an interesting scenario. I'm not really sure which one to prioritize here, as Cream Pie is going to get a really strong trade in. A shame there's no Ignite, so we cannot pursue it any further.
You see Creamy Pie going to hit level 2 first here. He's going to go in and drop a few auto attacks down onto Question Mark. So under a little bit of pressure here early on. We'll see if Creamy Pie, again, Aurelia always looking for a fight there, as I am still loading up here. So again, kind of using the Twitch stream. Sorry if there's any timing issues here at the moment. We see some fighting in the jungle as well. You see Llama only level 2, going to try to flash away. He's going to run into Water Elf, though, who is going to drop the Ignite and a couple auto attacks. One more Q, and I think that's going to be enough. It's going to be first blood picked up here by Water Elf. So that's going to be the leftovers already on the board here. As you see, pretty much just constant pressure from all 3 lanes here from the leftovers. They're really kind of shoving in the Kings here at the moment.
Yeah, giving the Kings the business here, definitely, as we see a quick trade coming from the mid lane. So, yeah, already we're seeing some action in the one possible matchup I didn't mention in the jungle matchup. I didn't think that would be interesting, the Ivern versus Irelia, but they ran into each other, and that is a matchup. It looks like fighting the top lane, but it convert to a kill. Cream Pie taking away.
Yeah, top lane fighting again. You see Creamy Pie going to pick up the solo kill. I'll catch up eventually. I'm sorry. League, bugs, they go hand in hand. But we see some fighting down the bottom side as well here. Llama trying to do some damage onto Kit, but it's going to be himself who goes down instead, as Llama's taken down by Aurora Flare. Already 3 kills to none in favor of the leftovers. And this one's starting to go a little bit out of hand here early on. Already up to about a 2K gold difference. So, well, this is a great start here for this leftovers team.
Yeah, definitely a very good start from leftovers. The Kings are struggling a little bit, down 2,000, just shy of 2,000 gold, right around just before the 5-minute marks. They've been bullied. Every lane has had action. Cream Pie really making sure Question Mark is bullied into his own lane, will not be able to provide much pressure, and we'll have to see if the Aurelia uses her current powerhouse status to really abuse this Aatrox even further. Aatrox can still be a problem if left to his own devices, so we'll have to see if this converts into anything further, but then we see a play in the bot lane.
Yeah, going to have ourselves a little bit of a play in the bot lane here. Trito going to find the stun. Here comes Llama coming in, trying to dine some damage onto Keep Hoping Sucker. This should be converted into a kill. Very, very low. One more dash away. Trito trying to chase, but it's actually going to be turned around. It's going to be a kill here for Keep Hoping Sucker. Now Llama continuing on here. He's trying to find some damage onto Aurora Flare. He's going to find the stun here. The Swain on the follow-up damage, but it's going to eventually be Llama who's just auto-attacked on down. And so that'll be another kill here for the side of the leftovers.
All right. Solid play here. Once again, the Kings finally striking back, as it looks like they're going to try and aggress into the top lane, but I doubt much will come of it with how low the Irelia is. So, taking stock of what we've seen thus far, once again, there's playing in the bot lane, possibly. Looks like Wiener Boppin maybe going to go down.
Maybe here, Water Elf going to come on in, misses the Q, but does still have the root, has the auto attacks here, full health. Trito going to be just a little bit late to the action here, so he will fall. And it's going to be yet another kill here for the leftovers. 6 kills to 1, as we're just about around here. Gonna fix some couple things here. Again, apologies. Spectator client's not really working on my side here today. But I think that really kind of just goes to show. I mean, the leftovers, they're kind of steamrolling here early on. Kind of speaks for itself. Luckily, we don't really have to point out a lot here to let you know it's been a good start. We'll try one more time on my side, but thank you so much, Miguel. I'm so glad they added this live streaming feature for Discord.
Yep. And now we should be all caught up, hopefully.
Hopefully, if it works eventually. And then we'll do some soul searching, and then I'll fix it for the next game, hopefully. But anyway, 6 kills to 2 here. Still difference on the side of the leftovers as we kind of get caught up here. There we go. A little choppy, but at least I'm at the same point, and that's the important thing there. So we'll hide the timeline. We'll get back to it. You see Water Elf antagonist doing a little bit of trading, but here's a gank up top side, 3-on-1 here. Question Mark going to pop the World Ender. Going to be rooted up, though. He's going to try to find those last second heals. Going to try to at least turn it into something, but he will fall. Creamy Pie, he does pick up the kill, and that'll make it a 7th here for the leftovers.
So still maintaining the kill lead. Gold lead is still around, or actually above 2,000. I believe it is around 2.5k, almost exactly right now at the just past 7-minute mark. The narrative thus far has been Unbridled and successful aggression from the side of the blue team here. I mean, we talked about a bit in draft that BBB was very good at being, or the Kings were good at being reactive and responding well in the draft phase, and we're probably looking to continue that strategy into the game itself. But as they have played the game thus far, it has just been the aggression, the non-standard play out of the blue team that has just caught them unawares every single time, and has almost always been confronted with success, as Silas is going to poke his little head in here and try and go for an extra kill.
Yeah, gonna go in there with the assist of Kit. Kit gonna find the root here. Llama, he is burning and he is gonna fall. That'll be another kill here for the leftovers. As now they're starting to invade the jungle of the Kings here. And really, from what people were saying before the tournament, this is not the result that was expected here. Of course, there's still lots of league to be played here. Obviously, no games decided in 8 minutes, but you've already got about a 3.5K gold lead on the side of the leftovers. Every lane is ahead. Not CS-wise, of course, mid lane and top lane. You still have a few CS numbers there. But, I mean, every lane's ahead here in the early going. In this jungle, Llama's just been bullied out here at the moment. Kit's just been kind of able to control the game any way he wants to. As you see, that'll be the dragon going down here for the leftovers.
Yeah, leftovers secure first dragon for themselves and are sitting very comfortably now over a 3,000 gold lead. A lot of that gold lead is actually focused in the jungle, mid lane, and especially in the bot lane. Bot lane's gold lead is almost at over 1,000 gold in herself. I guess the misfortune, I don't know the gender of the player, him or herself. Either way, it's a happy situation for them to be, as the Ornn and the Silas will be caught a bit unawares, as they probably didn't expect the Sejuani to be here. We'll have to see what happens.
Big ultimate coming out here from Aurora Flare. Antagonist on the way. He's going to find Keep Hoping Sucker. He's going to be taking on that kill. Already a 1-for-1 here as Kit finds himself in a little bit of trouble now. Antagonist, he's going to make that a double kill. Now trying to jump onto Aurora Flare here, trying to sell out for the kill. This is actually a huge fight here for the side of the Kings. Water Elf on the wrong side of things here, as he's going to be maybe taken down here. Llama starting to tick down a little bit himself. Water Elf finds the kill, but he will still go down there. Antagonist does find a shutdown in the grand scheme of things. So a nice long brawl there for you. Actually ends up being a 4-3 on the side of the Kings. Does give them a little bit of breathing room, and you actually see we're able to gain some gold there off the shutdown. So a big deal there, I think, for the leftovers to take that fight.
Yeah, Kings finally managing to strike back and try and get their feet back under them as far as this game is concerned. Like you mentioned, shrinking the goal lead closer back towards 1,000, big for them. And actually, I think most of the kills in that went to the Swain. Actually got a really, really sweet cleanup. That is a roaming mid laner's wet dream in terms of a fight, being able to walk in after it's mostly over and secure a bunch of kills. So now he will be sitting in a very good position. I believe he has finished his item first before his Lissandra, and we'll have to see if this fight is swung one way or the other because of it, as we are fighting over the Rift Herald at 10 minutes.
Yeah, fighting over the Rift Herald here. But now going to be fighting into the jungle, trying to run down Keep Hoping Sucker. He's on the wrong side of things once more. He's burning down here, just trying to find himself any kind of space. The tower shot's actually going to do it, but it's not been long enough for the execute. Going to be Antagonist who picks himself up another kill. So the kills just keep coming here for the Kings as they continue on with this comeback effort. Now the gold just down to about 2.4K. It's a much more manageable situation. You now have a win con, I would say. You didn't really have anybody there for a moment, but those shutdowns, huge for Antagonist on that bot lane fight. You now see actually has a bit of a lead over Water Elf, I'd say. Has that Rod of Ages now as well. So he's only going to get stronger here over the next few minutes as that item starts to tick up and get stronger.
Yeah, so scaling definitely underway, like you mentioned, having a win condition with the Swain. Your Jinx is currently falling behind, definitely going to take some time for her to be relevant once again in terms of the game, definitely looking for her. As per usual, 3-item power spikes. We'll have to see how much longer the Kings will have to wait before their Jinx is back and in form, but certainly suffered in the lane phase. We'll have to see if she's made to suffer any longer. But while you mentioned they now have a win condition, I would imagine that the leftovers now have a bit of a target that they want to focus. They know the Swain is strong. They will probably be looking to either avoid him or make his life just about as miserable as possible, as it seems all other lanes have kind of sorted themselves out unless they think they've found themselves a catch.
Yeah, Rift Trail gonna be dropped here by the side of the Kings. You see Daisy gonna be summoned up here, gonna drop some auto attacks down onto Antagonist. Not gonna be enough
I
to
think
kill
they have
on its
this.
own, but trying to send Creamy Pie. That's gonna be ultimate popped here by Swain. Is Creamy Pie gonna find himself too deep this time
Oh,
around?
close.
Almost finds the kill onto Antagonist, but he's not gonna find it. There's a big bullet time there. Gonna pick up the shutdown onto Antagonist. That is your raid boss down. Gonna make it a double
Going
now.
deeper.
And can Sejuani, can Water Elf go for the dive here? They actually do find question mark. It's gonna be a 3-for-0 here for the side of the leftovers. So, well, like you said, Antagonist found himself a few kills, but that does put a giant target on his back. And something else I want to point out here, look at the items for Kit. That's your Oblivion Orb, and that is a buffed Oblivion Orb. Grievous Wounds getting some big changes here on that mid-scope update, that mid-patch update, if you will. Don't really know what they called it themselves there at Riot, but it's stronger as a buy now. 40% Grievous Wounds at all stages, pretty much. You no longer get the reward on low health targets, but it's more worth it now to buy that item. May have come into effect there. You saw Daisy dropping those auto attacks, was applying that Grievous Wounds onto Antagonist, just didn't have the survivability that he wanted there in that fight.
I'd imagine just about every member of the Kings wish they could have survived a little bit longer. There were margins there that could have made the difference. But like we mentioned, Swain had a target on his back and was probably definitely looking for a roam there and just got caught out in a place he didn't want to be. Which is a shame. If there is a silver lining to losing a 3-0 fight, your bot lane was pretty happy about it. They managed to take down several plates, only one plate remaining on that blue side bot lane tier 3 turret. So we'll have to see if that is enough to get Jinx treading water again.
Yeah, Jinx here definitely going to need to get something going here. 0-2-4 still has not finished a mythic. You see over on the other side, Aurora Flare 6-1 has the Kraken Slayer already working on that second item as well. But we know Jinx, Wiener Boopin, that's a scaling champ. We know as soon as you get into that 2 to 3 item range, you are going to be feeling a little bit stronger. Curious to see what the item is after the mythic here for Wiener Boopin. Of course, there's been a lot of hullabaloo about the Infinity Edge changes. Now you can build it second. I'm still of the mind you want to build it third. I still think Infinity Edge is not a build second item. I know that might be heresy to say, considering how many people have been saying it's a build second item. But I just think you need that attack speed if you're Jinx. That is mostly my reasoning for that one there. So we'll see what he goes. Of course, you see the Kraken Slayer is now finished up. Most people on the board going to have their mythics. You see the Blade of the Ruin King coming out first for Creamy Pie, going to delay that mythic just a little bit longer. But officially rolling on into the mid game, an early surrender now possible. Not going to see it here. But we are starting to roll up in that mid game where things might be starting to change here. We might see, of course, a couple of another team fights on the way. You got some objectives on the board here shortly. You've got the Dragon coming up here real soon. Both dragons earlier coming up on the side of the leftovers. You've got a second Rift Herald, I do believe, going to be spawning up here real soon. We'll see. I think we've got a couple big skirmishes coming our way here. Two teams that have shown they want to fight. Already 22 kills here in 15 minutes. Already more kills than that first game, if that kind of goes to show you anything.
Engaging in the mid.
We see a stun up. Yep, going to be a fight here in the mid lane. Wouldn't you know it? As Antagonist is going to pop that early ult. Big bullet time there. Does reduce the health bars of the Kings, but no kills just yet. Actually,
Silas is
Antagonist,
deep in
he
there.
is going to be the first one to call. But do they find any kills more? Llama is going to find a kill on a Keep Hoping Sucker. Now going to go for that dive onto that tier turret. It is already going to be 3 bodies down here. Llama and Wiener Boopin, the only ones left alive. Remember that Jinx just not as strong as you'd like her to be here at the moment. That's just going to be a tower taken here by the leftovers. They find another 3 for nothing. Nope. Excuse me. How about a 3 for 1?
Yeah, Silas somehow wound up way deep in that fight, managed to really get the snowball rolling in terms of there's a lot of stuff overlaid with a lot of other stuff that all kind of came together. A really solid bullet time overlaid with the Lissandra damage and passives and the Irelia in there. And then the Silas was way into left field, again, guaranteeing that one of the first kills of the fight. I was going to start talking about who do you think, if this game goes long, even though it's starting to really look like a blue-sided leftovers team favored game right now, if this game doesn't snowball and this game starts to pad itself out and we get to the 35-minute mark and we give these characters chances to scale, who do you think really takes the scaling war here? My money is on the Kings. That Jinx scaling will be disgusting with a strong tank line in front of her, and if you can't kill the Swain fast enough, he will certainly kill you. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on the scaling war here.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree with you there. I mean, when you say scaling in this matchup, I think
all eyes turn on Jinx. Jinx is just one of those notorious scaling champions. But every time, consider the following, every time Wienerbuben is taken out of a fight or goes down, that pushes that scaling back just a little bit farther. You give enough time here, that Jinx is going to hit 3 to 4 items. Then she'll start doing some damage there. But you're keeping her down here at the moment. Of course, wasn't able to do anything there in that fight. I do believe picked up an assist on the Sylas, but assist not going to give too much gold. You're delaying it. You really are. Of course, antagonist, good start, 4-0. He hasn't really been much of a factor in these last couple of fights. In fact, he's been one of the first bodies to drop here. As you see, the leftovers trying to get aggressive there in the top side jungle. But I think the scaling does go on the side of the Kings. I think you're certainly right there. But I think they've built themselves up a pretty solid advantage, the leftovers have, that's going to delay that scaling to maybe almost too late if they keep doing what they're currently doing there.
The Kings will have to scale the mountain that they have buried themselves next to really get themselves out of the hole they're in as they try and look for an engagement here in the jungle.
Yeah, Llama knocked up, but going to get a little bit of help there from Wienerbuben. Use the blast plant to get back over the wall.
I didn't know the animal followed you like that. I never saw that before. That's neat. When he hit the blast cone, the little Pokemon followed him over. Can you tell I haven't played League in a minute?
Yeah, season 13, by the way. We've got animals now. Here's a big fight here underneath the tower. This could be drastic here for the leftovers. Ooh. Already 3 kills to none as they just find a huge engage. Llama coming in there, getting what he needed. And again, just too far under the tower. The tower, the MVP, I'd say, of that fight. And you see that's going to be a kill going on over to Wienerbuben. Antagonist does pick up the shutdown onto the Misfortune. But again, it's all about just finding the little wins. That's a big one. That finds them some breathing room. That gets the minions going back the other way. Well, we will see. But that's a good step here for the Kings.
It is a fantastic step. That is again one of the get out of jail free cards that they needed. It just felt like leftovers. They'd been running on all cylinders. They'd been winning fights. They'd been taking good advantages, and they pushed them in, and they thought they had an opportunity, and it just didn't. It felt like a bit of an overstep on their part, and the Kings, living up to their names, punishing this hubris out of leftovers, really, and they were actually managed to take a dragon count back into their favor, which will give them the time they need. It guarantees there will be no 25-minute soul, so they will have at least 5 more minutes to scale into the 30-plus minute mark. So I think this is the scaling dream, or at least the best dream they could hope for, given their scenario.
Yeah, and it also gets them the dragon as well. Going to delay that soul just a little bit. Infernal Soul, everybody loves to see it. Big numbers, big damage, lots of fun. Of course, you also get that burn with the soul there as well. So that's a good fight. I mean, obviously any kill's a good kill if you're the Kings here at the moment, but it's a fight that earns them wins on multiple fronts as well. I think that soul definitely worth mentioning. As we see here, the Probing Sucker, Aurora Flare pulled back in, just a little bit of health taken away there. Someone to note, question mark, bottom side of the map, has that TP available? You see, going to have to be answered to by Creamy Pie, who also has TP himself. So if something breaks out here up on the top side, both will be able to join. We now cross the 20-minute mark here. You see the gold lead is just under 2K. Of course, the Kings still very much trailing in this one, but not as bad as it was. All kind of just about keeping themselves within the realm of possibility. Everybody's got a mythic now. You see the Radiant Virtue coming out for a Llama. Definitely nice in terms of just keeping that ultimate primed and ready to go. Such a big part of playing that Sejuani in the jungle. You are the primary engage. The Poppy going to be going with the Locket there, going to add a little bit of extra shielding for these long, drawn-out fights. I think that's something we need to talk about as well, Miguel, is just these fights, they're not going to be, as we kind of move throughout the rest of this contest, this game, they're not going to be too explosive, I would say. Lots of these champions are long, drawn-out team fighters. You have the Aatrox, you have the Swain. Of course, Jinx going to be doing the consistent DPS. Then you have the Lissandra and the Irelia. Misfortune can do a lot of damage in a hurry. But we're looking forward to some...
Might die in a hurry. Oh, good flash.
Fights. Yeah, great flash there by Aurora Flare to get away from that Glacial Prison. We see some hovering around the Baron now, though. Spawned up, ready to go, but now the fight for the Vision begins. Both teams, I gotta imagine, if you find an ace, you might be able to just burn down that Baron. I think it's going to be an early Baron if you find a good team fight here at the moment, especially where we're at on the map.
Yeah, eyeing up the objective and just kind of vying for position here. It feels like, once again, sending the Daisy deep into position are actually going to speed themselves in, see if they go for anything, and the Poppy ults
Early
the Daisy
ult.
away.
That Daisy, I think a lot of people underestimate how tough it is to take down Daisy. It is a pet. It's one of these stronger pets, at least in terms of you're going to have a hard time killing it. Of course, you have Daisy. You have Tibbers. Tibbers did get some buffs recently there as well, and as the Resident Annie player as well. Definitely some long overdue Tibber buffs as well, but it's very tough to kill. You saw there, didn't even kind of have to walk up. None of the champions having to walk up there for the leftovers. Just Daisy was enough to kind of push him back there and force a couple ultimates as well. Swain, antagonist, he had to use his ultimate as well. I think he was anticipating a fight. Here goes Creamy Pie getting awfully aggressive. Going to use that ultimate. There's the world ender by question mark. It's not going to help him there as Creamy Pie does pick up the kill. 4 kills now for that Aurelia. Somebody's going to have to respond down there on the bot side. They're going to have to send the support. Going to have to send Trito.
Yeah, that is a really big deal. That is a big deal. I was about to point out, if right before that fight took place in the bot side of the map, that the little Rift Scuttler vision giving bit from the red team was actually delaying the Baron take from the blue team because they were not in position to take it, but it looks like they may not have the H bars to take it either.
Yeah, Baron started up here, but they just don't have the health bars. You saw that Super Mega Death Rocket coming in, finding 2 priority targets in Aurora Flare and Kit as well. Daisy going to be spawned up here, dropping some auto attacks down, but will eventually fall. Not going to get as quite the value as that last cast this time around, but they are going to prevent the Baron, the Kings do, and that's a big win for them there. Again, I think you're starting to see some, maybe not panicking on the side of the leftovers, but you're starting to see them look for that hammer down play. I think you notice after that 3-0, they're really starting to try to speed things along here. I think they know that if this game goes just a little bit longer here and you start letting that Jinx get some items, this turns around in a hurry in favor of the Kings.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say about that Baron setup is blue team was tragically close to a perfect scenario when it came to that Baron take. They had their strong split pusher into her own winning matchup. She wins the 1v1s against the Aatrox, as you saw when she got the solo kill. But that is a dream scenario for a team. You have your split push away, creating pressure, and it means that the opposing team has to really decide whether they want to contest the Baron or give you the split pusher turrets or so on and so forth. It was a dream scenario, but they couldn't quite pull it off because the red team had vision and were able to respond properly, but it looks like a fight may break out here.
Yeah, maybe a fight. Dragon already secured here by the leftovers. Huge bullet time. That's doing a whole lot of damage there. You see going in deep. That's going to be Creamy Pie, but he's actually going to be the first one to drop. That's a shutdown picked up here by Wiener Boopin. Antagonist going to find the second kill. This is a good fight for the Kings thus far. Water Elf going to have to pop his ultimate on himself. Now the Zhonya's, but he's just buying himself some time. He will still die. That's another shutdown picked up here by Wiener Boopin. That's huge for the Kings. 3 kills to none. They don't get the Dragon, but they get some time on the map here. You see the bodies. They're heading towards that Baron.
I'm thinking that's the death nail in terms of blue team's win conditions here. Even if they do manage to get this little extra pick onto Trito, Baron's going to go down here, and the scaling is over. You have to wait 5 more minutes to get to the next Dragon, and already Jinx is going to be, after that one fight plus the Baron take, will probably be on her 3 items, if not just at her 3-item power spike, or she will have reached it by the time the next Dragon is spawned. Swain is already all in your grill. You saw it in that last team fight, or a bit of it down to the bottom right side of your screen there on the minimap. He was all over the MF. MF had a great ultimate, but even if it went off over all those people and the Aurelia tried to capitalize, the Aurelia immediately got exhausted, was simply burned down before she had a chance to do anything about it. While in the meantime, the Swain was just sitting on top of the MF and the Sylas and whatever else was standing next to her, and they just didn't have the damage to kill him. If the Swain stands in front of your MF, I don't think Swain wins. I don't think MF wins that outcome.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that was just a great executed team fight by the side of the Kings there. We're able to take down Creamy Pie. Great exhaust. I know it's just a button click, but it's still a great decision there by Trito to really just take Creamy Pie out of the fight immediately. And then you saw there, kind of just bodies fall from there. Keep hoping Sucker not as strong as you'd like that Sylas to be, of course, coming from the support position. A little bit gold star there. You see has the Everfrost and not much more. So you're really just kind of an ult bot there at the moment. Yeah, you see only about 7.3k gold. You're 3k gold behind Antagonist, who was really just able, like you said, to just sit there and really just kind of drain those health bars. So that's a major turning point in this game. I don't think all is lost. If you are the leftovers, you still have your strengths. You still have Aurora Flare. That bullet time did do a lot of damage, but you're no longer in the driver's seat. It's time to do some soul searching and try to find a way back into this one. You're now trailing in gold by about 1K. So this shoe's on the other foot. And this Kings team is only going to get stronger. You see now 3 items for Wienerboop, and he's been able to even it back up here with Aurora Flare. Glacial Prison not going to connect, but still going to buy them some space to push.
The Kings' first gold lead, I believe, of this entire game. They've been in the backseat. If we ever had a gold graph, I imagine you would see it be down, down, down. It's the first time it's creeped into the positive territory for the red team. So good to see that the Kings did not go quietly into the night, and in fact are poised in a very good position, as you said, in the driver's seat of this game now, to be looking to take the victory here, as the Aatrox is actually left down bot unopposed right now. He will certainly take that turret.
Yeah, they really just have to answer this push here from the Kings. They have the Baron, they have those empowered minions, but they might still need to send somebody there. Question mark. He's not going to join the fight until something breaks out here. Here we go, by the way. Tower is going to fall down the bot side here. Antagonist going to pop that ultimate. Buddy's being taken quite low. He'll actually be shut down. That's a kill picked up by Aurora Flare. Trito now on the run here. This is actually a good fight now for the leftovers, but can the Kings turn this one around? Aurelia going deep. Going to be taken down here by Wienerboop. Only one left alive, but can he find the auto attacks? Can he find the reset?
Holy shit!
Holy cow, he found himself a huge rocket. Finds himself a quadra kill. Only one man left alive. That's going to be keep hoping sucker. Bodies fall. Actually, quadra kills or 2 80 carries there. What a fight. And this one, yeah, I think that just kind of sums up this game. These two teams, they're pretty much even now.
Yeah, that was almost great, and then almost a disaster, and then pretty much nothing much of it for either team. That entire fight was just a back and forth narrative. We could go back and break that down 100 different ways, but let's just look at the main stories there. The fight broke out, and while we missed the initial start to the game, oh my, something just crashed. I think that might be a bit of a spoiler, but we're gonna ignore that. You didn't see the man behind the curtain. Anyway, what was I saying?
Hide the timeline for other spoilers too. On the in the client itself or in the spectator client itself. Just hide that timeline real quick.
I'll be honest with you, boss. I don't know how to do that.
Go to the eye on the left bottom, on the bottom left of the screen. Click on interface and then click on time controls. No, yeah, time controls.
There we go.
But we got ourselves some fighting here in between the turrets. That's going to be a kill picked up here by Creamy Pie. Make that a double. They also get the tower as well. Could they be jumping onto this inhibitor tower? It's going to fall in short order now as we pass the 30-minute mark. Now onto the inhibitor as well. Going to have that Infernal Soul. And just like that, we had that big fight. 5 for 4. But I think it was a fight that really just benefited the leftovers in the grand scheme of things here. Is now they have the inhibitor. They have the Infernal Soul. They have themselves the gold lead once more. And, you know, I said it's time to do some soul searching here, Miguel. Well, it didn't take very long. I would say they immediately come out and they just immediately find another few kills. They find another couple kills. They find themselves an inhibitor. And once again, they stormed out to what is now officially their largest gold lead of the game. So, you know, I don't know if they're listening to me. I don't think they are. I know they're 3 minutes ahead of us. But, yeah, that's pretty much what you want to do if you are the leftovers.
Their soul searching was certainly successful. I would personally say lethal. That last fight demonstrating just how powerful this composition can be. We actually mentioned in the fight previous to that, when the dragon fight took place, that the exhaust into the Aurelia was really clutch in shutting her down. But in this fight, the exhaust not up, not available. And you saw the Aurelia wreak havoc mere inches from dropping Jinx down all the way. If Jinx didn't have her abilities up, she likely would have gone down, and that fight would have been different, because you saw what the Jinx was able to do with the slightest of margins given to her. She turned a 4 for 1 into a 5 for 4.
Here we go. Here comes a big fight around the Baron. This really could be a fight that decides the game. A couple Zhonya's going to be popped here, but Antagonist, he is the first one to fall, and that's going to be the disengage, or at least the attempted disengage on the side of the Kings. Already 3 down, though. Here comes Creamy Pie, just going to find himself in the back lane. That's going to be 4 kills to none, and that will be your ball game. It was interesting for a time, but at the end of the day, the leftovers just simply turn this one around. They say, you know what? It is time for us to win this game. It's time for us to move on into the semifinals, as these Nexus Towers, they are going to fall in short order. They tag down question mark as well. 32.5 minutes, 32 kills to 19. It's going to be the leftovers who are moving on. Well, well, well.
Well,
So it
well,
wasn't the
well.
scaling in the end. It was the scaling, but it was not the scaling for the team we thought, Miguel, as that one just kind of turned around in a hurry. We had that big old team fight, five kills to 4, and then from there it was just all the leftovers.
Yeah. Just a final comments on the game as a whole, and then we will be hopping back over into Frosty and Sunless's tournament game stream as the game they're currently in is underway, and you'll be happy to come back to us when we cast the next game. I believe it'll be Losers Bracket Round 3. Very exciting to see. Either way, I think that game, like we said, the non-traditional comp really took it away. They were aggressive. They came out the gate swinging, and they took it, even if it looked rocky in the middle, and we thought the Kings had managed to figure it out. That fight in the top lane just turned it around.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Kings, now at risk of being dethroned, have to make their way through the losers bracket. Of course, taking on the Heathers, as you see. We'll, of course, rejoin you on this stream here on Tournament Kingdom, Miguel and I, for that losers round 2. We'll kind of have to wait and see who kind of shows up where. Obviously, we'll have the loser of that Are You Not Afraid, or BOB. We'll have the loser of that game taking on the winner of the Kings and the Heathers. But for Miguel, I think we'll just go ahead and send it on back to the other stream now. For Miguel, I am LaRue. Hope you'll join us right here on the Tournament Kingdom stream. And once again, welcome back here to the Tournament Kingdom stream, the second side of things here, getting ready for Losers Round 1. Of course, these two teams fighting for their tournament hopes here as we see the Heathers, losers of the first game of the day. They're going to be taking on the Kings, the losers of the second game, the game you just saw right here on this very stream. But again, I am LaRue, joined by my partner for the evening, Miguel Bloomberg. As we see the first few bans coming out here, we see Nyla, we see Victor once again banned away here by the Heathers, and we see Gangplank banned as well. We see that Seraphine targeted toward the Heathers. We also see Evelynn and Dr. Mundo, so some very heavy target bans. Would not say Dr. Mundo and Evelynn are at the forefront of this current meta, but we do see those banned out. We see the immediate Nami pick coming out for the Heathers here, being directed toward, I believe toward Mr. Mako Maho. I believe that will be the support here for the Heathers.
Yeah, the Mundo Evelynn definitely not the forefronts of the meta. This is coming from personal experience. I was a Mundo junkie all of last season. He is my boy, but he is certainly a shadow of his former self. So banning him out is definitely not a power pick ban, more a target ban towards enemy top laner, or just something that the Heathers just don't want to deal with. The Nami pick, however, signals to me a possible Nami-Lucian bot lane combo here. We'll have to see if the Lucian is allowed through in this next round of picks, or if Jason Dean decide to pick it up for themselves. Would certainly not mind standing behind the Maokai strong frontline that he is, but instead it's the Ashe. We'll have to see if the Lucian is picked alongside him here.
Yeah, that could be a support Ashe, by the way. We'll have to kind of wait and see where that Ashe goes. Of course, support Ashe, very popular nowadays. The Nayram build finding its way into the LCS these past couple of days. There you go, Imperial Mandate. You kind of just become a supportive pick, even though you are the one farming. So kind of have to wait and see where that one goes. But we do see the Amumu picked up here for the jungle. And now we see, does that Lucian get picked up here? I imagine we see the Lucian ban if it's not picked up right here. I feel like you got to ban that out just by concept of Lucian Nami being the bot lane, but we'll see.
Jinx?
Could be the Jinx. Jinx has been a powerful pick. Jinx has been a very favored pick. In fact, the Heathers play it in their round 1 matchup. They're going to pick it up again here. So, going to leave that Lucian on the bench here for the side of the Heathers. We'll see, though, if it comes out on the opposite side of things, or if they're going to just stick that Ashe in the ADC role.
Yeah, you don't even need to ban the Lucian anymore. I don't know where you'd really want to put him. Lucian Ashe doesn't sound like a very compelling combo to me, and you chose the Jinx with the Nami instead of the Lucian, so that idea is just thrown out the window. So right now, the top lane is the only lane that is shown unopposed at the moment. The Aatrox, no, that's not actually true. The Aatrox does not know who he's up against, so it is a blind pick. The Maokai, if it is a jungle pick, which I can assume it is, will know he's against the Amumu, and the Ashe, be that the AD carry or the support, will at least know that she is against the Nami Jinx duo. So the mid laners yet to be picked, and the opposing jungler and the opposing top laner have yet been picked yet. We see some top lane banned out here with the Shen and the Olaf.
Yeah, we're also going to see that Swain taken away. No Swain for antagonist this time round. Definitely had his moments on that champion in that last game on this very stream. But we do have one more ban remaining here. Most likely going to be directed toward that bot lane. Could also be a mid lane ban as well. Just kind of take more picks away from antagonist. No, going to be the Thresh banned away there. Going to be banking on that Maokai being a jungler. If we see Maokai and Amumu, by the way, according to U.GG, that would be the 2 highest win rate junglers going at it there. Platinum rank plus, but the 2 highest win rate junglers there. Definitely 2 of the strongest, and definitely 2 of the most picked as well. That's how you really have to look at there, the pick rate as well as the win rate. But 2 very strong junglers for sure. That is the Heimerdinger hover, but it's going to be changed here to a Janna. Now a Lulu here last
Back
second.
to the
now
Janna.
a Janna once more. And so it will be the Janna coming through here. That'll be the pickup for Trito this time around. On that tank Poppy the last time. Didn't quite work out there. Had a few moments. Had to unfortunately use the ult on Daisy a couple times, but going to be swapping back over to Janna this time through. Should see a couple solo laners here. Zac is a top lane menace here at the moment. That's going to be the pickup here for the top side for the Heathers. And we'll see what this last pickup is here. Should be a mid laner. Don't think that Zac will be going mid, but as you can tell from my excitement, curious to see this top lane. Zac, that's the highest win rate champion in the top lane, according to my ever-present friend UGG.
Lux.
And then we'll see the Lux hover and the Lux pickup, maybe. Not changing it. Yeah,
There it is.
it'll be Lux picked up in the mid lane to add a little bit of AP damage for this Heathers comp. So one more pick to be had here. Should answer some questions here, Miguel. Where do some of these laners go? Most likely going to be a mid laner pickup here as you see the Syndra hover. Is that going to be the lock-in here for Antagonist? Syndra getting some changes, of course, in the preseason. Just before the end of the season, I do believe, in Season 12. Now has stacks of her own. Has, what do they call them? Needles?
Orbs?
Orbs? I'm not quite sure what they're called nowadays. But she collects them. It makes her execute enemies. It's a lot of fun. Still functionally the same champion. Not quite as much of a lane bully now. But Syndra is going to be picked up here for Antagonist. So I do believe, as we move on into the client-side draft here, I do believe that the Heathers are not in role order. We'll have to wait and see who picks up what when we kind of move on in there. I do believe Mego is going to be your mid laner. I believe Dr. Phil is your ADC, I do believe, from the last game. Maybe, kind of, sort of. We'll see. I do believe Mr. Mako Maho was your support. But again, we'll answer all those questions when we go on again into the game. So, Miguel, as we see the pick band finished up here, what are some initial thoughts that you have on both these teams here? Who do you really kind of think got the edge there in this draft?
That is a very good question. Initial thoughts, well, once again, the red side opting for much more standard picks, and the blue side opting to break up a couple powerhouse picks for the Nami and the Lucian. I know I'm stuck in last season, I must admit. Seeing the Zac in the top lane is still weird to me, and seeing the Nami not paired with the Lucian is practically a sin in my religion. But either way, this is a new world order that I must adapt to. So looking at both compositions and assuming Zac is going to be that frontline power with the Jinx behind him, along with the Amumu, both teams actually kind of scope out pretty standard. I'm more interested in the Syndra counter pick that was given. They saved that mid lane counter pick all the way to the end of the draft phase, so they knew what they were going into, and they chose the Syndra, which tells me that either the Syndra player believes that they are good enough to take out the Lux, or they think that Syndra is a big enough counter. But that is the one thing they prioritize in this draft phase, and I for one want to see it played to the fullest extent, because that's what they're banking on.
Yeah, for sure. And so let's go ahead and talk about this, Zac. I know you mentioned you might be stuck a little bit in last season, but let's talk about what this Zac is most likely going to do here and why he's become such a pick. And it's been the item I think everybody's starting to focus on just a little bit more. Radiant Virtue. This item is a bit nuts. When you cast your ultimate, you do what Riot likes to call transcending. That increases your max health for a little bit. Obviously, very beneficial to Zac, who, likes to build lots and lots of health. And then you gain ability haste. You heal for a little bit there as well. And so it's just an item that I think synergizes well with this Zac. Of course, maybe going to build the Sunfire, maybe going to build the Demonic Embrace as well. So we'll kind of see what Kuum Cadet really opts to do here with this Zac. But it's just another Radiant Virtue champion. And that item really kind of has started to take the forefront here. Might be an item on the chopping block. We'll wait and kind of see. But this Zac having success. Not only is he the top win rate in top win rate in mid as well. So you and I, our lanes, not so different here at the moment. But anyway, you kind of see the Zac. You know what to expect from him. Dr. Phil going to be going on that Jinx once again. The first game for the Heathers, kind of putting all their eggs in that Jinx basket. Didn't really pan out all too much there. Weren't really able to get him the kills that they necessarily wanted. This time, though, going to have a little bit more damage, I think, with the Lux and the Zac. That does give them secondary options, I would say. So I do like this draft here from the side of the Heathers. I like both drafts, if I'm being quite honest with you there. I think picking up Maokai is a huge deal just because of how strong he is in the jungle. But yeah, I do like that they opt for a little bit more damage here this time around.
Yeah, definitely a diversifying of the portfolio here from the blue side. Instead of just, like you said, putting all the eggs in the Jinx basket, diversified a little bit into the damage/support character that is going to be Lux in the mid lane. So being able to provide damage from at least one additional source will almost certainly benefit them, unless they just get absolutely snowballed from the side of the red team here. Looking back over the composition, what does each team want? It feels like the identities of both teams are kind of similar. Both teams have pretty solid engage at different ranges. The Ashe can start a fight, the Syndra stun can start a fight, the Maokai can combo off of any other stun that had been provided to really get a fight started. The Zac obviously can fly in out of nowhere. The Amumu has excellent engage as well. So both teams will likely meet up and just look to be brawling it out. As for which team I would choose to win the fight overall, I think it's a really close call. I think it's going to depend on what the game state is. I mean, well, everything's going to depend on what the game state is.
Yeah.
But if it was even, my money would personally be on blue team, just because the Jinx is unbelievably powerful. It has more support structure around her to do what she needs to do. The Ashe will not be providing quite as much damage and will need to be kiting very, very hard to get out of the way of not only Zac, but the Amumu jumping on her face. Syndra is kind of at the same problem where she is similarly immobile, and if she is caught out, she will die almost instantly. So, and I think blue team also has better peel options if Aatrox or Maokai or Syndra manage to land stuns on them in any way. So my money is on blue team for this.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, we'll have to wait and see how this game really shakes out. Just a reminder, though, the winner of this contest does move on to losers round 2. It's a trip to the losers bracket. You want to make the finals from here, you're going to have to go through 3 games to do it. Of course, this first game, the Kings and the Heathers, the winners will move on to face Bob in losers round 2, and then we'll wait and see who loses that semifinals matchup. It'll be Naryuant Afraid or Leftovers. One of those 2 teams can be dropped to losers round 3. After that, we go to the finals. And then, of course, the losers bracket team will have to win a couple games, and then, well, the team for the winners bracket only have to win 1 to make it on through. But again, I am LaRue, joined by my partner, Miguel Bloomberg. Let's cross our fingers. Hope this time I get into game right away. Hopefully Daddy Riot decides to let me actually join the game in progress. But Miguel and I, we've talked about it. We have a plan now. Apologies for the rough start to the first stream of the day, but should not be experiencing as many problems this time through. Thank you. Hopefully I won't need that, but we'll see. We'll see. So we go ahead and get on in the loading screen here. We kind of take a look here at some rune choices, some summoner choices as well. You might want to note Wiener Boopin taking the Ghost onto the Ashe there. No heal, no exhaust, just straight up Ghost, wanting to run it down. You know, those auto attacks are already slow, so definitely looking to add on to that chase down potential.
Check in. Are we good? Are we live?
I am not, but let's go ahead and see, because sometimes it also just takes me longer as well. But for the time being, I'll just go ahead and throw up your Discord stream, and we will see if I eventually join on in there. I won't close out of it just yet. But on to the Rift here, as you see. Once again, it is going to be the Kings over on the red side of the Rift. It's going to be the Heathers on the blue side. Go ahead and shake everything out for you there. 5-man stack here. Yep, I'm in the game. Awesome. I'll just catch up to you on the Discord side of thing. We don't need to pause it or anything like that. It's all catch up here. Well, now you spit it up on me.
I'm just going to skip to present time.
Scaring me. Okay, yeah, present time. We'll just do that. That works for me. All right, now we're caught up there. If you want to keep the Discord stream up, I would be very, very happy in case I need to jump back over there.
No
but
problem.
We get going here. Going to be a red buff start here for the side of the Heathers. Going to be a bottom side start here for the Kings as well. You see, once again, the champ I'm most interested in seeing in this game, Miguel, is that jungle Maokai, because I feel like it's been all that most people can talk about. I feel like most of the salt in the game right now comes from the jungle Maokai, or just the Maokai in general. I'm curious to see how Llama kind of pilots it here. 2 tank supports we've seen from him here in this tournament. Had some good engages there on the Sejuani in that last game, but this time, gonna still be an engaged champ. That ultimate is still gonna be used to try to get on top of the Heathers, but it kind of works in a different way. It's kind of a slow roll and all. You know, kind of speeds up a little bit there. I'm just curious to see how this Maokai shakes out.
Yeah, Maokai definitely a powerful and popular pick in the current meta. Seen him multiple times in the LCS and other leagues that have started as of recently. So definitely powerful. I'm also happy that the little disappointed that Jack Show, or not the Jack Show, excuse me, the Cassante is also not particularly present. Interesting, and also happy. I don't think he's a particularly interesting champion, but if you like to play him, then I'm sure. Playing in the mid lane, though.
Yeah, we've got ourselves an early gank here. Mego going to be in a little bit of trouble. No flash available here. Still has barrier to pop if she has to. Going to use it now, but that's
double
gonna
flash.
Be the flash. Llama, I think he went too deep. He's going to fall. Could this be a double? Yes, it is. Mego turns it around there. A bit too aggressive there for the Kings as they give Mego 2 kills to start this one out.
2 kills to the matchup you were supposed to counter is a rough scenario to put yourself in. So BBB antagonist will be kicking himself. I wonder if that was a synergy moment or a sort of I'll get it. No, I'll get it moment. and
Yeah,
it wound up costing them a little bit.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. You saw the flash at the same time there. Both Llama and Antagonist deciding to suddenly go deep.
Almost
the only
identical.
problem is they had no minions to really kind of help out there and maybe even tank a little bit to get themselves in position there. They were taking tower shots immediately after the dive. So it's a bit unfortunate there. We'll see how the lane goes. We'll see if Llama really kind of recovers himself and gets back to it here. You see him kind of hovering topside now at the moment. But it is going to be a good start here for Mego, as she's going to be able to go back and get that blasting wand. Instead of just dying, she comes back with a couple kills. So quickly into this one, 4 minutes, you see the goal difference. Not too much of a difference. They were still able to pick up the kill. I feel like that is important to note. They at least got the kill, because I think we've seen too many tower dives that did not. But the kill did go over to Antagonist. And, well, actually, it's a gold lead with the CS differentials. So it's just kind of one you shake your head and you say, we'll get back. We got the kill.
Shake it off.
We'll move forward from here. Yeah, we'll shake it off.
Yeah. So looking back to the mid lane, still actually manages to acquire the level lead. I guess that's good for her. So she still has a marketable advantage against Deluxe, but the blasting wand will certainly be a problem for her to deal with later on. Looking at the bot lane now, as a little bit of trading comes around. CS leads are pretty much identical all over the map, except in the top lane where we see a 10 CS difference for the Aatrox over the Zac. I don't know the matchup, but I have played a little bit of Zac top, and that seems about in character for how this matchup goes. He doesn't seem a particularly strong trader, especially, or at least against the likes of the Aatrox, who very much likes to brawl, and he seems much more the sort of content and stoic top lane type character rather than the very aggressive in your face type character that you could definitely classify the Aatrox as.
Yeah, we see here Antagonist going to hit level 6. There's the ultimate coming out. Not going to do enough damage here to Mego. Mego going to miss her stun there. Does land the E. Does land the light. Excuse me, not the light binding. Excuse me, but light binding would be that Q. How about the Lucent Singularity? Forgive me for not knowing Lux ability names there. But either way, going to be able to survive through the ultimate. Going to have to take it back, though, perhaps. You see Mego completely out of mana. Antagonist is as well. The Antagonist, a little bit of health there to stay in lane. Does have the Ghost as of now. Mego has her flash back, so something to keep in mind there as the Antagonist tries to recover from that early death. First backs coming out here throughout the map. We see here on the bot side, see Llama actually showing up there just to kind of help push out that lane. Going to back off. The Noon Quiver being picked up here by Wiener Poop and was able to get that 1,300 gold. You see Dr. Phil already has the Noon Quiver himself. As question mark
Stops the recall.
Stops the recall there, keeps Coom Cadet around for the time being. But yeah, we see question mark so far kind of exerting his will there up top side.
You know, top half of the map, Aatrox dominating the matchup, being a bit of a bully in that matchup as well, just trying to keep him in lane as long as possible. Doesn't want him teleporting back with his new item set, probably wants to shove in this wave and then recall himself. He's certainly sitting on a decent pile of gold, and both top laners will likely use their first teleports back in a lane and reset this lane state to neutral, even though we'll get a pullback here. Might try something, but I doubt it will result in much, even though red team's rotating for it.
Yeah, I mean, important to note that Coom Cadet does have the passive available to him. So you might be able to take him down, but you have to have the follow-up ready to go here. Mr. Makamahu in some trouble, has to flash away, at least able to secure that Gromp on his way out. But that is going to be the Summoner burned here, as you see. Question mark. Going to be doing a little bit of proxy farming here. Finds his way in between the towers and now has an opportunity to chop away at these plates. I do expect a TP back here from Coom Cadet, though, after he buys that first item. Going to be building into that Sunfire Cape first here. But level 6 is across the map here, still waiting on the bot lanes to do so. Still relatively even in terms of gold, about 500 of difference right now between our two teams. And, well, really looking for that first big skirmish to really kind of decide who takes the front run, who takes the driver's seat from here. You kind of see the first dragon over there in Ocean Drake. Gotta imagine we maybe start seeing some interest shown over there. I don't know. I think you got two junglers who are wanting to team fight. I feel like we got to see a fight eventually here. Yeah. That's just kind of the goal for these two teams.
Yeah, if the team fight is to happen, I want to point out that the Aatrox actually saved his teleport when he came back to lane just now. So if a fight does break out, he will have the ability to respond. Even with the weakened teleport, he would be able to be kind of out of position, but at least he might be able to make some kind of a difference. Either way, it's likely going to be devoid of top lane intervention regardless. But if they wanted to make an attempt, then Aatrox would have the ability much better than the Zac, as some trading is going on across the board.
We've got some trading here as both laners going to have about similar gold here. That's going to be the ultimate pop by both Coom Cadet and Question Mark. Now the flash away by Coom Cadet, still holding on to that passive, but did not want to continue that fight on any longer. As we see here, Dragon is going to be started up by the side of the Kings. You see Mr. Makamaho, he does in fact know, has that Curse of the Sad Mummy. That's going to force the Kings off of the Dragon for the time being. Now, they're going to try to start this one up. We could see the skirmish going over this Dragon down to about 2k health. Both junglers, they have their smites available. That's a knockup coming through on the Mr. Makamaho, trying to CC him on away. Dragon is going to reset. This one's just going to turn on into a fight. That's going to be Llama taken down first as Mego on a killing spree. Make that 3 kills in a row. There comes the wave on through. Going to find Trito. Dr. Phil dropping down the rockets. There's the flash forward.
Ooh, not enough.
Up. Does he have enough to at least pick up something here? As Wienerpoop trying to turn it around. Going to auto-attack the blue buff a couple times, but he does find the kill eventually as he goes on forward here. Does pop the ghost. There is the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Going to connect down onto Lakachan and does finish off the kill. That's a big win here for the side of the Kings. They pick up 3 kills to 1. They're able to take down Llama. Nobody gets the Dragon, but they lose 3 lives in the process.
Yeah, well, they'll finally get the Dragon now. A bunch of, I think we had like 2 different neutral monster interactions in that fight, not only fighting over the Dragon itself, which wound up regenning because you were just wasting its time, but even the blue buff showed up for a little bit there, even taking a few of the auto attacks for the team from, I believe it was Wienerboopin, but even so, it was a very, very close fight. You saw that the smite was very, very close to being in range for the secure from either side, and oh, what is Coom Cadet?
Coom Cadet landed the first part of the Q, not really going to use it though, as he kind of just walks right on by the minions. Actually has his health bar reduced to very, very low there. Almost thought he had the advantage there at the moment, but you see Question Mark going to heal that right back up, now about 50k. How about 50% health? Maybe in the early days of Heartsteel, I would say. But at the moment now, going to have that advantage here. Still working on those plates. You see, he's been able to take 2. Might be looking for a lot here. Elastic Slingshot to get away from the pullback. Yeah, just going to have to keep trying to farm under his own tower. But that one's turning in a hurry toward Question Mark. CS lead of now 35.
Yep, so to sum up the summation of that Dragon fight, I think the utility is the main player of that fight. You saw that the utility, that the stunning and the peeling that the not only the Maokai and the Janna were able to put out, but also a couple pretty solid stuns out of the Syndra. So BBB antagonist playing that to considerable effect. We can see now why they were confident in picking him and saving him that counter pick. And then even at the end, we saw Wienerboppin with the Ashe ultimate able to secure a few extra kills on the way out, thanks to the distance provided by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. So a lot of utility coming in and showing a lot of its supreme value in the game thus far.
Coom Cadet coming in hot there on the Elastic Slingshot. Pulled back in here. Question Mark going to find all 3 procs of the Q. But here comes Wienerboopin. Going to look for the engage. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does connect, but it's actually Trito who takes a lot of damage. And Super Mega Death Rocket not going to connect. Maybe would have been the kill. Maybe not. I don't believe so. But there's a last second tornado here. Wienerboopin does drop a couple more auto attacks. Going to find the slow. Do they want to push this one out? Dr. Phil in a whole lot of trouble here. Does not have the flash. He'll actually fall. Trito who picks up the kill. As we return back to the top, yeah, not the target I think you want picking up that kill there, but still a kill is a kill. As Coom Cadet and Question Mark continue to brawl up there. Minions actually in favor of Question Mark, so a little bit of extra damage there. That's the ultimate pop by Coom Cadet, trying to buy himself some time. As you see, this is going to turn on into a 2v2. Mr. Makamaho comes on in. Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to be popped, but that is the passive proc here by Coom Cadet. Can they finish it off? I do not believe so. They're actually going to turn their attention
splitting their targets
to Mr. Makamaho. He actually is able to survive, and so is Coom Cadet as he uses that slingshot to get away. But hold on, we're not done yet. Here comes a tower dive here as antagonist. Can Coom Cadet turn this into anything? Tower's being tanked here by Llama. He's able to get out of range. They will not die. They will actually find the kill after all, as it's going to go on over here to, I believe, that was picked up by Question Mark.
Yeah, you saw it. It looked like they had it in the bag. It should have been 2 free kills, or at least 1 before they even reached their tower. But you saw they thought they had enough time to transition the kill onto the Amumu and then transition back onto the Zac, but you saw they split their targets. They thought they were done with the Amumu, or excuse me, with the Zac, and they simply transitioned away, but they didn't finish it. I think it was either, no, I got it. Once again, the BBB with a similar mindset, rubbing the brain cells together as now the Ashe Ultimate connects.
Yeah, Dr. Phil just dead to rights here. Great ult there by Janna, but I think she was dead anyway. So Wienerboopin now those arrows have been on point. Lands another one there. But flashing back to that fight up on the top side, I think that's a great roam by Antagonist. I think you actually don't get either kill
if he's not
Antagonist
roaming,
is not roaming at that moment to get up there to that tower. So Antagonist turning nothing into something there, and that does help them out. That does put question mark on the board, does help him push that CS lead even further. Now you see it's a 1 level difference, but it is a 2k gold difference at the moment. You see he can afford to get a lot more aggressive here. Coom Cadet, he might find himself in a bit of a sticky situation, although he is going to be able to dodge a few of these Qs. He's going to have to try to get all the way back to tower. You're going to have to burn the flash.
Oof.
Yeah, no passive, has to burn that flash. They're going to have to find some way to get him back in this game because this lane is not going his way from this point forward.
Yeah, 40 CS down. The Aatrox also had the flash on a fully stacked Conqueror. There was a world where he flashes in to finish, maybe fearing the CC a little bit, but there was no passive to dissuade him. So if it were me, I might have tried it, but either way, not willing to risk it, and it's still forcing him out of his lane, denying him more CS, making that 40 turn into 50. It is a rough situation for the Zac.
Ooh, good barrier there by Mego. Actually going to turn this one around, picks up the shutdown. That was a great barrier there by Mego. Antagonist unfortunately tanking another tower shot. That mid lane tier 1 tower, that's an MVP tower for you right there. As Mego, 3 of those 4 kills have come with the help of the tower, but a great barrier once again there. To
give the tower the honor is all I'm saying. He deserves it. Yeah. Another Ash Arrow.
Yeah, there comes the Ash Arrow onto Dr. Phil. Just not having a fun time here at the moment. Push back. Wiener Boopin will drop those auto attacks. You see Phil not even opting to move. Just going to accept his death there as he does at least pick up 1 melee minion on his way out. But yeah, Dr. Phil just not having a good time there. Pretty much just being killed on cooldown on that Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Yeah, the Kings here certainly don't seem very happy to be in the losers bracket, so instead opting to just go full aggro. No more waiting around, no more playing reactive. They said, no, this game we are playing active, Ash arrowing in place, making aggressive plays. Even if they don't all work out, they're going to work out somewhere. We're double flashing under turret. We're greeting for double kills, and even though it almost bites them a couple times, it is more than nothing. It has helped them out more often than not, and they're going to secure another dragon for themselves. 2-0.
Yeah, that is the Chemtech Drake. Welcome back, Chemtech Drake. Season 13. Much less oppressive this time around, that Chemtech Drake, but it is going to fall. And so at the moment, you see here, it's a 7k gold lead for the Kings. And a lot of that gold on the Wiener Boopin here at the moment. Yeah, richest player in the game. No, excuse me. That is going to be question mark. But second richest player in the game right now, that is Wiener Boopin with 6.3k gold. As, yeah, this one's kind of gotten out of hand in a hurry. I think we still have a few more minutes. I think we still have a few more opportunities for the Heathers to get back into this matchup. But they're going to have to find something here. And I know we said that literally in the first game and it turned around right away. This time, I think that's a little more... I think it's a little more desperate, I would say, here for the Heathers. You got the 4-1 Lux, but I don't think Lux is a champion that's going to necessarily 1v9. You got an 0-4 Jinx there. Only 1 item at the moment. You've got the Zac, who is a little bit behind, kind of still trying to work and get to that Radiant Virtue and try to find the spike with that mythic item. But you're kind of just climbing a hill here. You've got the 1 item Syndra. You've got the Eclipse question mark with his Eclipse. He's looking to get aggressive. You've got Wiener Boopin now looking for the roams. Going to find Mr. Mako Maho here, and I just think he's going to be CC'd to death there. Question mark going to find his way on in as well as he throws out a couple Qs. Not actually going to pick up anything. Kind of whiffed on a couple of those there. But his presence isn't needed. I think the Kings really starting to put a stranglehold on this one.
Another Ash Arrow.
Another arrow. This time going to find Lakachan as he tries to use the wave to get away. He will be falling down. Wiener Boopin taking a couple tower shots. But he'll be able to get away there with the help of the Janna, and that'll be a tier 2 falling here momentarily.
Yeah, it's go, go, go. I don't know what else to say about it. Not only, good flash to dodge that ultimate. Janna will keep them alive anyway. It's go, go, go. They not only have taken everything they want to through just aggressive actions, they're now just roaming together as a team, as a cohesive unit. They're just roaming the map. You saw the Amumu fall victim to them as he was suddenly surrounded on both sides by 4 members of the BBB crew. So, yeah, this is pretty much just textbook how you play. Your lanes are ahead, group them up, and just run them down. Roll them up and knock them down is just the name of the game here, and BBB have so far done a flawless performance, but a mistake can always be punished. That is the one thing you must always be scared of when you have engaged, such as the Zac and the Amumu. If you make a mistake, they can capitalize, and blue team's going to have to look for whatever opportunities they can.
Yeah, you get caught out at this point. That could be a turnaround, but like we've said, the Kings kind of moving as a 5-man unit here at the moment, really kind of not letting that happen. Question mark all on his own. Aatrox, though, a champion who can turn around those fights by himself with that ultimate with his World Ender. But, I mean, it's really just at this point, you got to look for a mistake. You got to try to find anything here. Mego in a little bit of trouble taking another Q. Antagonist not going to opt for the ult this time around. By the way, they are called Splinters, in case you were curious. They're called Splinters, and they do add abilities to Syndra. She still kind of works like usual. It's no longer level-wise, by the way, if you remember old Syndra. But the Splinters, they do add her some things. I'm trying to remember what. It's been a while since I played Syndra. Yeah, they give her extra ability power. They execute. You just got to collect them there. So at the moment, 75 Splinters. It keeps disappearing on me. 75 Splinters. That means basically she can store more charges of her Q. And she does more true damage with her W. Yeah. So enough talking about Syndra here. That was a good moment even for me. But
Valorant level accuracy stats on those Ash arrows, by the way.
Yeah, just landing everything here at the moment. Now Antagonist in a little bit of trouble, but able to get on away there. There is the Maokai ultimate used as Mr. Makamaho will be dropped. You see Antagonist will actually fall as well. Koomcadet going to get on in there, but TPing on in. That's going to be question mark. Another kill. Excuse me, for Wiener Boopin. He's going to be going 6-0-3. Dr. Phil will be the next one to fall. Make that a double question mark. He doesn't care about towers here at this point. He wants Mego. He's going to take a couple shots on his way through. Still relatively healthy, but no, only ones left alive, Koomcadet and Mego. I don't think they have the damage to take down question mark here. They're going to try to retreat to their own base and reset. And maybe, just maybe, look for the desperate defense of their remaining tower.
Question mark definitely raid bossing that fight to the extreme, to the extremes there. Just flashed right in. The go policy is still very much in swing for BBB, and they are knocking on and have taken an inhibitor just past the 20-minute mark and are certainly now going to eye up the dragon on their way out. I just got to commend BBB. Not only did they strike out quickly and took a lead of their own, but they also didn't do what a lot of sometimes solo queue teams will do, is where they have a lead and they kind of flounder for a little bit. They're not really sure what to do. BBB did not do that. They were decisive. They knew how to use it. You saw them when they took that Rift Herald. They warded up and they basically just stood in all of the choke points into the Rift Herald and said, no, you want to fight? No, come on, we dare you. Come on. So yeah. They're executing this game flawlessly, I would say.
Yeah, basically just very decisive. I think that's really what you can chalk up to here as the Kings take a 10K gold lead. They've been decisive. You saw Wiener Boopin, arrow after arrow after arrow after arrow. We're not waiting for the fights to come to them. They knew what they had, and they were willing to make it happen. And then, like you said, once they were able to kind of get that advantage, starting to choke out the Heathers here. Deep vision, making sure that they were aware of where the Heathers were at all times, while also denying the Heathers vision of anything that isn't just directly in their lanes there. So this has been a very, very solid performance there by the Heathers. By the Kings. I know the Heathers were able to get that double kill very early on. A slight mistake there, but they've just been able to kind of take control. As you see, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. I'm not going to connect this time.
Ash Arrow missed.
Yeah.
Downrate his accuracy. It's abysmal.
Awful miss there by Wiener Boopin, but they're not going to be deterred here. They're going to go in. That's going to be a nice knockback there by Llama. Does at least take down Mego. Koomcadet still left alive here for the time being. Going to try to re-engage. Dives back in there. Might just be a suicide charge just to kind of keep them at bay for a little while longer. You see Dr. Phil and Lakachan making their way up toward that top side here at the moment. Koomcadet able to survive. He's able to come back out of that passive. He'll just die, though, right again as he's taken down. Here comes Llama jumping on in there. Is going to land onto Dr. Phil. Exhaust dropped onto the Jinx there. Dr. Phil just trying to find any kind of reset. Is landing a little bit of damage. Not too much, though, as Wiener Boopin. He's just going to go ahead and go frontline himself. Dropping down those auto attacks. Mr. Makamaho doing a little bit of damage, but he will be the next one to fall. Make it a double. No, not a triple. Antagonist will find the final kill, but that is going to be an ace. A 4-for-5 ace by the side of the Kings. And that'll do it here for this one. Dominating performance for the Kings as they move on to losers round 2. here in 23 minutes. 18 kills to 5 here in this one. Nope. Scumbag question mark. 18 kills to 6, by the way. And the double Nexus explosion as well. So, again, a good win there for the Kings. Maybe a bit of an upset there in the winner's bracket or on that second round kind of deal there. Might that have given the Kings a little bit of motivation to try to make their way through the rest of the bracket? We'll kind of wait and see, but I don't know, Miguel. That was very, very impressive. That was a very, very clean win.
Yes.
Other than that mid lane snafu, if you will.
Yeah, a few missed plays, a few missed opportunities there, both of them almost nearly under turret. One a pretty bad situation, but other ones capitalized. We got to see BBB really just what it felt like they just decided they weren't going to be passive this time. In the game that we were able to see, they were more comfortable kind of sitting back and letting things come to them. This time around, they said, no, we are taking no prisoners. And they decided to push that policy to the extreme. The Geneva Conventions did not exist in BBB's game, so they decided to simply take everything they wanted, and they were rewarded for it. So,
yeah,
good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think as we already do have up on stream here, we're going to go ahead and send it on back to the other side of things now. That'll do it for us, though. Of course, it's been a whole lot of fun.
Wait.
What?
Oh, the boss is here.
Would you be totally understand if you're not up to, but would you guys be up to cast one more game?
I mean, yeah, I think, are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live. We're off the cuff, boss.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, behind the scenes. Let's pull the curtain back. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I'll do another one.
The semifinals is still fairly deep, and I don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Hanging if you guys are cool with casting one more. Sorry, I know this is part of the schedule.
Sure, that'll work for me.
We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Okay.
Alrighty, so you heard it here first. We're gonna be back here in just a moment. So already setting that lobby up. We will be back once again with the next round. But for now, we're gonna send it on back. Enjoy the action. We'll have the lobby set up. We'll be right back here at the Tournament Kingdom tournament right here on Twitch. And once again, welcome back here. Surprise, surprise. We got a third game here on this side of the stream, back here on the Tournament Kingdom stream. LaRue, Miguel Bloomberg back with you. For the third time, we'll also have the Kings. Once again, dominating performance in their last contest, taking the Heathers out of the tournament, but still trying to make their way to the losers bracket, now taking on Team Bob. So again, LaRue, Miguel Bloomberg here. We see a couple bands coming out here. Gangplank going to be taken away by the side of Team Bob. And meanwhile, the Kings, they're going to be taking away that Irelia, taking it away, I believe, from Alternative. So a team we haven't gotten to see yet. Actually, we did get to see him on the original stream over on the Tournament King side of things. It was Team Bob able to take down Team Heathers. So these two teams, they've got a similar opponent, but waiting to see kind of what happens here. Because we see the Syndra and we see the Gragas taken away as well. So a couple mid lane, a couple jungle bands, a couple top lane bands, really focusing on that top side of the map here first.
Yeah, it's seeing, so far, we've not seen any super dominant power picks being banned out. These all seem like pretty decisive target bans, actually. The Irelia being banned out, taken away from, I believe, taken away from the opposing top laner or the opposing mid laner. Who knows? The Irelia can be flexed in other places. Also, the Yone taken away. The Gangplank, while certainly strong, certainly not a ban unless it is certainly not meta enough to be considered a power pick, so banned away for just to be a target ban as well. The Syndra and the Ashe, obviously dominant performance from BBB in their last game. Small b and B, or I guess we'll just call them Bob. Probably saw BBB's last Geneva-less Conventions game they just played and decided that they don't want to go down quite like that, so are going to force BBB to adopt a different strategy.
Yeah, I mean, really, the Kings had a great performance there in that first round. Could we see the Zoe lock in? Please lock that in. That would be amazing.
Better not lock in the Yuumi.
Better not lock in the Yuumi.
Don't
and
do it.
We all know why. Very, very, very hard nerfed last time out, but that is going to be
Vi.
and that's no fun at all. Going to be the Vi locked in here for... dang, I was so... All right. That just deflated me. The Vi is going to be the lock in here. And, you know, Vi is a champion we could see in the jungle. Of course, the current state of the support role could also mean we see it as a support there as well. Of course, that assumes, I think, you see a specific pick on the other side of things. But Vi will come first, and we'll see what the second lock-in is here, as we already see the Janna on the other side. I was about to say, I don't think Janna's that pick that you necessarily wait for Vi, but it's going to be the Sivir combined with the Kings. So, Vi, Sivir, Janna, what you think?
I think thus far, BBB still leaning into their go ways, wanting to run at the enemies, hit them with the big fist, isolate them and ult them down. So far, their two picks still seem to lean in that direction. Janna is certainly a good pick in countering that sort of aggression. Definitely one of the premier peel picks if you need a peel pick support. But on the other side, we picked along the Wukong, so we'll see if it is a more definitive team comp identity in the peel, thanks to the Janna, or if they'll go for something a little more well-rounded in opposition to BBB's plans.
Yeah, so now we see the Wukong locked in here. That's a bit of a throwback to Season 12. Wukong, such a powerful, such a prioritized, such a maligned pick there as well. I think I speak for a lot of casters when I say it was actually, frankly, just kind of boring seeing the Wukong meta last year, but that's going to be the lock-in this time around. We'll see if it goes top or jungle. And now we see the Caitlyn going down into the bot lane. Not going to be the support Caitlyn. Korea, I don't think you're going to see it anywhere else, but I've seen Caitlyn support before over there. Going to be the ADC paired up with the Janna this time through. So what's going to be the final pick? Aatrox certainly left open here if Question Mark wants to go into that pick again. Renekton also a possibility, but just going to go ahead and go back on over to that Aatrox. Very dominant last time out. We'll see what Bob has to do, or what Bob has to try to negate that, because it looked very, very good in that last game.
Yeah, so far the BBB composition, while a few new faces, still seems to occupy that similar identity. Sivir and Ashe, both very strong, can be good damage dealers, but you also pick them for their strong utility. Sivir, for, her ultimate, can run everybody in. Ashe had her ultimate. So Sivir and Ashe are decent utility AD carries. The Aatrox is still there, so you have an aggressive top laner. Vi has CC and can bruise, certainly not as tanky as the Maokai was, but can occupy a slightly similar position in terms of what the team would want her to do. So I see out of BBB a very similar strategy and only slight deviations in that simply because they've been forced to pivot in the face of BOB. The Janna-Caitlyn combo will, however, be a very dominant matchup, I believe, into the Sivir without some level of intervention from that Vi, because the Caitlyn and Janna being the double range and certainly having more range than the Sivir will probably bully the Sivir out considerably. So it will probably need some level of intervention if the Sivir is to stand relatively comfortably on both of her own 2 feet. Either way, the bans coming out for interesting bans. The Zoe and the Victor taken away, along the Fiora, even though they don't seem to. Maybe it's a mid lane Fiora ban they're worried about.
Yeah, the Zoe ban is going to be hurting my heart a little bit here, but still going to be looking, I believe, for a mid laner, still going to be looking for a support. Actually, Lulu could be the pickup here, and it is going to be the Lulu coming through for Trito. So we're going to see a third straight different support for Trito. Here's again, this has really been kind of the home for the Kings here today. But we're still looking for a couple, maybe, actually, we'll kind of wait and see if we're waiting for a couple solo laners here on the side of Team Bob. Could still be the Wukong jungle, could be Wukong top there as well. Orianna would be an interesting selection. Recently buffed was Orianna, and that will be the selection. So we'll get to see the new Orianna here. I say new, it's just a few number changes here and there. If you're curious, the passive has been changed there. It's now, kind of just more steadily ramps up instead of just changing at certain levels. The Q, now it's been reduced. The pass-through damage has been reduced. But the W mana has been, it's changes all across the board here. Sorry. But W's mana cost has been reduced. And then R, the ultimate command shockwave, more magic damage.
Darius,
so those ultimates
baby.
are going to be even bigger. So we see the Orianna, we see the Darius going to be locked in here. That does send the Wukong up into the jungle, as it will be a Darius top on into that Aatrox. Finally, our last selection is going to be the Taliyah Hover. Would be a Taliyah mid, I do believe, if locked in. And that will be the pick after all. So it's going to be the Taliyah. As you take a look here, the full comps and all their glory, we'll go ahead and swap on into the other draft now. So we kind of take a look and see. How about some initial thoughts here? Once again, Miguel, what do you think about this draft before we kind of rate and see where everybody really goes? What do you think?
Well, as a top lane junkie, Darius has probably my most mastery, so I'm always excited to see him played in a competitive scene. He is just such a fun champion, so he'll be looking to obviously play his kid out to success. He wants to get resets. He can fight the Aatrox if he manages to space himself out properly, so I will be keeping my eye on the top lane matchup. The bot lane is also interesting because they are playing them for utility on the side of BBB rather than just pure damage, but it can flex. Matchup can go either way. The double range can be punishing, or the Lulu and the Sivir can simply bear down and survive as long as they can, while their jungler tries to influence other lanes. The Orianna will be an interesting, albeit still a pretty standard pick in terms of similar likes to the Victor, that they can do all things. They can be the damage dealer, the support, the utility provider, and both champions can really provide that for their team, so it'll be interesting to see. But the big narrative I see is just the same broken record thing I've been saying. BBB are balls to the wall right now. They are pedal to the metal, and that's what their team looks like it is going to do. So it will be interesting to see if BOB can be able to counter, or if Triple B will simply do what they did last game.
Yeah, I mean, we take a look here at the King side of things. Vi, easiest to engage in the game. Find a target, click R, and go CC lock them. Go knock them back, do all your Vi things, and hopefully your team can kind of catch up there. Helping that Vi get into range for said engage is that Sivir. Press R, the old saying, it's just a Sivir comp. You press R and you win. So that's going to help them get on in there. But at the same time, I do like some of the pickups here by the side of Bob. The Janna, once Vi gets in there, you can't stop Vi from getting on in there. She goes unstoppable. She is going to knock you up. But the Janna does a good job usually of keeping that Vi from doing the rest of Vi things. So the Janna, I think, is going to be real important here in this one. Of course, Orianna going to be looking for those big ultimates. Going to be looking for 3-4 at a time. Don't know how necessarily easy it's going to be. I don't think you're going to be one-shotting anybody not named Talia, Sivir, or maybe even Lulu. Maybe not even Lulu, if she's able to kind of catch herself with the shields and maybe even that wild growth there as well. So you're going to be looking for those targets. But yeah, I do like, I think that Bob has good disengage as well. But yeah, we'll see if the Kings are able to kind of execute that game plan that's been working so well for them, or worked so well for them there in that first game.
Yeah, as a Darius player and as a top laner, I'm certainly looking at this from the angle of if I was the Darius and what are my big threats right now. The Lulu is a significant threat, not because she can kill you or that she has kill threat on you. It's more that she can delay your combo long enough that you can simply be burst down by all the other members of her team. CC is obviously a death knell to you, as it probably is for just about every other champion in the game, but Darius more so. Darius loves to simply be let free in the pasture to roam about where he wants to in team fights and in the game in general, so the Lulu will be something to keep an eye on to see if this Lulu can really decide where to polymorph most effectively. The Wukong and Darius are both, I think, prime polymorph targets here, so we will have to see if the Lulu can play it effectively, because she's not only worried about polymorphing the right target, she's also worried about keeping her teammates alive, so she will certainly have to be playing with her eyes pointed in different directions if she is to be the most effective. In other news, the mid lane matchup is interesting, but I don't believe will be all that explosive. Orianna is incredibly standard, like I mentioned, similar to the Victor in that sense. She can just basically do all the things, wave, clear, de-damage, do utility. Talia, not quite as well varied in what she can do, but she can stand up on her own. She can be in a lane. She can provide levels of utility in her ultimate and a decent chunk of damage. So I think you'll see mid laners prefer to be roaming in this game rather than being dominant in 1v1, winning in their matchups.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you are Talia and you're not roaming, you're not playing the champion right. Your ultimate is literally for roaming. And of course, it's why she was in the jungle for so long. So I think we're going to see antagonists hit 6 and try to make plays around the map. Sure, you can also look for that solo kill. Talia does have kill potential into the one-on-one matchup, but I think you're going to try to get down bot side. You're going to try to help get you're going to try to get your ADC ahead, maybe even roam up top side a little bit there. Try to catch out the Darius too. Darius, for all of his 1v5 potential, still is a little bit vulnerable there if you are able to kind of get on top of him right away. So it's going to all be about the roams. Like, I think you're definitely right on the money there. Pac as well. It's going to take you a little bit longer. You don't have the ultimate. You can't ride the wave, so to speak, but you can speed yourself up to the river. So we'll see who really kind of gets those roams, who's able to shove out who. Talia, I think, has a little bit better wave clear than the Orianna does. Obviously, you have your QW combo for Orianna. Does take a little while to scale up, so you are executing the backline right away. Should be fun. I think we're going to see lots of early skirmishes. I think these are two teams that are going to want to fight right from the get-go.
Yeah, wonder if we'll see another double flash combo onto the turret from BVB once again on the red side. So they could do it right where they were before, but like I said, probably won't be doing a lot of action in mid lane, so we'll be having to keep our eyes peeled on the opposite ends of the map. I feel Caitlyn and Janna are, with the way the composition is set up against them, they are behooved to really be aggressive. They want to abuse their range matchups as much as possible. They want to be shoving the Sivir and the Lulu in. They want to be dominant so that they can provide pressure in, anywhere they go on the map. It's easy to say, oh, well, of course each laner wants to win their matchup. Well, that's pretty obvious, but I think the Caitlyn and the Janna are a little more behooved to do so, because the Aatrox, if you don't get your own advantages, the Aatrox will still wind up on top of you, the Vi will still ult you, and the Sivir will still run at you, so Caitlyn really needs to strike out on her own, in my opinion. They cannot just wait and sit back for the game to come to them, because BBB will come to them, and they will likely want to run them over with it.
Yeah, so we are just about to get on into the game here. But don't forget, over on the other stream, we do have more action there for you. If you want to double stream it here today, over on the Tournament King stream, we've got for you Are You Not Afraid? Excuse me. Actually, nope. That one's been concluded. So never mind about that. That one is over. Are You Not Afraid? Gonna find their way on into the finals. But after this one, we will be, I believe, going back over to the Tournament King stream. This will be it for us, I'm sure. Unless TK jumps back in here and kind of surprises me once again. We'll have the winner of this one taking on Leftovers. So look forward to that there. And then after that, we've got potentially a 2-game finals, potentially a 1-game. Of course, we know the team from the losers bracket, they'll have to win 2. And Are You Not Afraid just has to win 1 to secure the trophy there. But on into loading screen here. We'll see if I finally make my way on in here, but we see the rune choices. You see the summoners as well. Nothing too out of the blue. You do see a couple ghosts there. Darius, of course, going to be taking that ghost. Definitely likes that summoner spell for himself. Does give the Kings the TP advantage, though. As you see, Pac does take TP for himself. So it's not an advantage per se, but it is one for the top side. Hey, look at that. I got in.
Let's
so
go.
We'll go ahead and get going here. Again, LaRue, Miguel Bloomberg with you. It's going to be Team Bob over on the blue side. Going to be Team the Kings over on the red side of the map. So we'll see here if we get any level 1 shenanigans or if we just see ourselves a traditional 5-point start. Just kind of covering your bases there. Maybe going to go for a little bit of deep vision here. You see Trito even stepping forward on into that river brush. Nothing doing just yet here. You see even Antagonist going to show up in his own lane, starting that tier. So
5-point start, both teams just holding the line.
yeah, so we'll get going here in just a moment. Minion's going to spawn in about 20 seconds or so. Just a reminder, maybe mid lane, looking for that level 6. Maybe start looking for those roams there. As the antagonist is going to want to get around the map. Does have the ghost for himself, so even without that ultimate, is still going to be able to get on in, get around places, and use that passive to full effect. Very good roams, just very good roams. No matter what you're really kind of doing there. So we'll see. Straight Weed, he's going to go ahead and start on his red buff. Wama going to start bottom side of his own jungle there as well on that blue buff. And we'll officially get going here. The minion's going to crash here in this losers round 2 matchup.
Yeah, bit of a mirroring here. Both teams leashing their jungler on the bot side. So if they choose to clear into a gank path with traditional timing, they will both junglers will be poised to do an early gank top side if their pathing is traditional. So we'll have to see if that's what their plan is, and we'll have to see how this works out, or if everything just winds up being standard. Darius already pathing forward to do a little bit of extra damage, but you can see the Caitlyn down in the bot lane already doing what we kind of saw, but losing a good chunk of their trade already. The Janna and the Caitlyn already behind on HP bars despite the range advantage.
So as we kind of wait for this one to really get going here, actually Alternative going to hit level 2. You see Question Mark taking a few blows here early on. I'm going to pose a question for you. Darius, Aatrox, they're both man mode top laners. They both want to kind of assert their dominance early on. How important is it for this Darius to get ahead? Because we saw Question Mark really kind of put the Zac out of its misery early on in that game. Kind of just put him out of the contest. Maybe not out of misery. Maybe the wrong words there. But how important is it for that Darius to get ahead? Hold that thought. We are going to have our first gank here. Sailor Moonshine going to have to try to flash away. Tornado does find 2 as All Out Potato does land with final auto attack for good measure. How important is it for this Darius or this Aatrox to get ahead in this matchup?
It's very important, is the short version. Darius wants to obviously not just win his lane, he needs to dominate. Darius's worst position is even or behind most of the time because people can deal with him. You want to be snowballing, but...
Here we go. Return gank and a roam from Antagonist here. Sailor Moonshine, All Out Potato. They're just in a whole lot of trouble here. That's going to be a double kill here for First Blood. And meanwhile, up top side, yeah, Question Mark does finish off the solo kill as well. That's going to be catastrophic in the grand scheme of things, but still 3 kills here for the Kings. Yeah, I mean, they're aggressive. You saw Antagonist, the level 3 roam, and he's not really going to lose a whole lot for it either. You see there, only trailing by 6 CS, actually is able to catch the wave as well. Picture perfect roam from Antagonist there to catch out All Out Potato and Sailor Moonshine.
So yeah, like I was saying before the Darius died, is the Darius loves to be ahead. He wants to be in a position where he draws attention. He is not only a dominant bully type champion, he wants all the attention on him. Darius is wet dream is when he is ahead and a jungler goes, I'm going to try and bail out my laner here, and I'm going to try and hope him out. He loves 1v2s because he can turn them around so easily. And then later in the game, it puts him up in a position where he can be a split push monster. Not because he can take turrets, but because you need to send people to respond to him, which just opens up the rest four of your team to just do whatever they want, whether that be take Baron, take Dragon, or just overall take the game for themselves. So Darius, just as much of a lover of being ahead as everybody else. I'm sure that's not a huge headline, but the minutia, as always, makes a difference.
So 3 kills to none here, 1.4k gold on the side of the Kings. As we approach the 5-minute mark here, you see already back with Sork boots is Antagonist, opting for those boots first, still stacking that tier on the way. Curious to see what this Taliyah builds. I'm not really a Taliyah player. Curious to see if it's the Rod build. Curious if she just goes into one of the traditional Lost Chapter items. Really wanting to see where that one goes here, as Alternative still not deterred by that early solo kill. He's still getting aggressive and is still landing a few blows here on Question Mark, who is going to have to back off here. CS lead is still in favor of Alternative. Actually going to cancel the back there, Question Mark. He wants to catch this wave as it crashes on in. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly playing Darius like Darius would believe. Don't set him back here. Actually going to look for the dive here, but he's taking tower shots. Does he finish off the kill? No, he doesn't. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's going to be so bad here for Alternative there. Maybe a bit too aggressive. I was about to say he's playing Darius like Darius would play himself. Just he wants to get in there. He wants all the glory, but now you got no glory. And now you've set yourself back because you have to take the long walk back to lane.
Mm-hmm. If I could bother you.
Big for
wait, hold on. I'll bother you in a second. Bot lane play.
Yeah, bother me here in a second. Here we go. Once again, here comes the gank from Llama. You see Antagonist almost making his way down there as well. He's going to run into Straight Weed. It is going to be all out potato here on the wrong side of things. He's taken down. That's going to be a kill here for Llama. Sailor Moonshine will fall in short order, selling out, trying to take down Wiener Boop, and he will not. It's going to be another couple kills here for this bot lane. As, yeah, I mean, Llama, once again, just focusing bot side.
Yep. Just want to check, what is your timing right now? I believe I might be a few seconds ahead of you.
I am at 6:23, so I will go ahead and speed it up. I'll just go ahead and catch up to you here. Yeah, I'm a few seconds behind.
There we go. I was like...
apologies.
No,
yeah, now
it's no
I'm
problem.
good.
I was like, we're a little desynced, but barely anything noticeable. But yeah, just the Darius is... You can feel it. He's definitely a Darius player. He wants to push the tempo. He wants to make his advantages. He actually had a really, really good trade where he stacked to 5 and he's able to shove the Aatrox under his turret, and you can see him standing right on the edge of the turret range, and you could see him practically chomping at the bit wanting to go for it, and he did ghost in, and a bit of a misplay with the flash and the missed auto, and Question Mark obviously playing it smartly, being able to get the damage he needed while not staying too long. It just didn't work out, and it puts him in a rough scenario now, as Darius doesn't want to be where he wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately he was one auto attack away from at least making it a 1-for-1 trade, but it was that auto attack that he just wasn't able to find, and so he is 0 for 2, still has a CS lead, but he is going to be behind by about 300 gold here at the moment. Definitely not lane lost, but like he said, Darius does not want to be even. He does not want to be behind. He wants to be ahead. Well, he's certainly even here at the moment. So again, Bob looking for that first kill. Not going to maybe find it here. Alternative, he might be in another sticky situation. Going to get the 5 stack onto Question Mark. He's going to back off here. He knows Alternative has that true damage ultimate. Going to back off here. You see Pac, you see Straight Weed making their way up there. Pac, not quite sure. We'll have to check later, but I'm saying Pac because that's just what I know, but also Pac-Man. I'm not quite sure. Here comes Question Mark once again. This turns into a 2v2. There comes Vi. There comes Llama. He's going to find himself some damage as Question Mark finds his 3rd kill onto Alternative. Straight Weed, only level 5, does not have his Cyclone. He's going to be dove. He's going to just turn into another kill here for Llama. Meanwhile, down bot side, actually, Question Mark did fall in the end. That is the shutdown going over to Straight Weed, but the bot lane going to pick up another kill. It'll go on over to Wiener Boopin. His Antagonist hits level 6. Immediately using that ultimate to roam, get down there and take him out once again. So let's talk about this as well here, Miguel. A lot of focus we've seen in these 3 games for the Kings has been on this bot lane. It seems like that's where they're most comfortable ganking, is just sending Antagonists, just sending Llama down there to that bot lane and trying to get Wiener Boopin and Trito ahead. It didn't quite work out in the first game. Worked to a T in the second game. Here in the third game, it looks like more like the second, as they've already got 2 kills onto that Sivir.
Yeah, first verse definitely same as the first. They will maybe be ganked here, so a little bit of a caster curse might be kicking in.
Yeah, here comes Straightweed, and he has his Cyclone this time. Gonna pop it maybe a bit too early, trying to get on top of Wiener Boopin and Trito. I don't think he's gonna be able to catch up here. So the ultimate popped, Wild Growth popped as well. And now do they get aggressive themselves here? As you see, All Out Potato actually focusing on his wave in the meanwhile, doesn't want to give up that CS. Yeah, now they're just gonna go ahead and back off there. So ultimately it's an ultimate for ultimate, but it's gotta feel a little bit bad there if you're Straightweed. Had the angle, just maybe pop that Cyclone a bit too early.
Yeah, oh, Darius going to ghost in on this play. Maybe he looks for something.
Yeah, he's looking for the kill. He's certainly going to go ahead and use that ghost. There is the early ultimate.
Oh.
True try to secure the kill before he falls. That's going to be a little bit of healing here for Question Mark, and I think that's going to keep him alive. Another unfortunate situation there for Alternative. Got him so low. Just he hasn't been able to secure the kill.
I feel so like the pain of what that just was. You do not understand how much I understand what that was. The execute missed by the smallest margin. If he had gotten an extra auto, waited an extra second, that execute likely goes off, and he maybe even turns that into a 2v1. It's just a tragedy.
I'm sorry, the command shockwave in the mid lane not going to connect there, so another ultimate burned here by Bob, and this one's really starting to get, again, out of hand. You see already up to a 5k gold lead here at 10 minutes for the Kings. Yeah, I mean, that first game woke him up, I would say, as Antagonist going to try to kite on back there, knocked up by the Tornado. Llama as well. Llama does have the Assault and Battery ready to go, but All Out Potato, he's left alone there on the bot side. Trito, he's taking tower. Now it's Wiener Boop in here. He's taking a lot. Gonna have to burn the flash, but he still dies for it, as that's going to be the shutdown picked up here by All Out Potato. It is a 1-for-1 in the grand scheme of things there. That does put All Out Potato on the board there, gets the shutdown. Not a whole lot there, 150 extra gold. It does allow him to get that Mythic, though. He's going to be the first one to actually pick up a Mythic. I think, yeah, I mean, we're going to see Wiener Boop and immediately follow with a Kraken Slayer of his own. But, you take what you can get right now, I think, if you're Bob. You kind of got to find your small wins across the map.
Yeah, 100%. I'm curious, though, do you know what BBB stands for?
I really do. Well, actually, I do, because I feel like they mentioned it. We've just been calling them the Kings here throughout today.
Well, for those who don't know...
I know it's something I don't want to say on the air, but, I'll let you do it.
Well, for those who don't know, they are the Blue Balled Boys, and
there you go.
And they are balls to the wall right now, I think, living up to their namesake once again. I played with them a lot before.
I don't know if that's necessarily living up to their namesake. I know they both mentioned balls and whatnot, but... I think that's something completely different. So either way, they are going balls to the wall. I mean, you're certainly right there. As they pick up their second dragon, we're going to see a Hex Tech Soul come up. My favorite dragon, if you will, the Hex Gates, always adding so much fun to the Rift here. Looking maybe for another tower dive. Yeah, Llama going to find a 2-man knockup. That's a nice ultimate used there by the Janna, but they just don't have the power level necessary here. Although, here comes Straightweed, able to turn into a 2v2 when it's all said and done. So, hey, maybe spoke too soon, although Straightweed's still going to be taking some damage there from Wiener Boopin and Trito. Rift Herald does crash into the tower. Not going to be able to secure it this time, the tower anyway. But yeah, I mean, ultimately a 2-for-2. That's a good thing for Bob, as they are able to put a couple kills here. Both of them going on to Straightweed, but it's nice of him to show up there and at least turn that tower dive into something. Although they are going to lose this tier 1 tower.
Yeah,
first tower of the game.
It's one of those moments where it's definitely a just look for the silver lining moment. Like, yeah, well, we got 2 kills back, but they still got a tower. But yeah, at least we got the kills. It's a rough situation to be in. 5k down before even the 15-minute mark. 4 kills to 13. And I would think it was personal, BBB fighting against BBB Straightweed being so aggressive, but we saw them play the same way the last game, so it just seems to be more in character than any sort of personal vendetta. I know, played with these guys before, they're all really solid characters, so they would never do anything quite so vindictive, but it is a funny thing to notice in narrative speaking, at least, as we see a fight here.
Yeah, here we go. Another fight as Antagonist. He jumps in there. Sailor Moonshine already very, very low. Flash out from Straightweed. Trying to catch up here. Sailor Moonshine just out of range for Antagonist and Llama. And it looks like he is going to get away. Meanwhile, though, All Out Potato is kind of in no man's land there at the moment. Llama going to turn his attention to this Caitlyn and is going to take it down. So, yeah, I mean, good on Sailor Moonshine. Able to keep just out of range. But All Out Potato, maybe a bit of mispositioning there. Just kind of dies for it.
Yeah.
Once again 15 kills to 4 here at 14 minutes.
Yeah, rough position to be sure. I don't think the Vi goes for that and be ambitious if she did, especially without her ultimate. But I think as the Caitlyn or as the AD carry in that scenario, when you see fighting in that position of the map, you need to either path towards it to help or you need to start pathing away to get yourself out of danger. So the fact that she's pushed up that far is a really rough situation to be in, and I'm sure it is every AD carry's worst nightmare to find 4 people behind them when they were just farming away innocently. No, I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah, all up potato. I mean, you're trying to get yourself back.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this game,
absolutely.
just
No
by keeping
disrespect to him at all.
Trying to keep your CS totals up. But at the end of the day there, I feel like you just kind of added nothing to that one. You just kind of end up being just a body for the Kings to take down. You don't really add a whole lot of damage to the team fight. Just kind of a misplay there, I would say. As we see here, a solid mid lane push. Wienerboop and Trito turning their attention to other areas of the map. Now, Llama, meanwhile, just hanging out in the Bob jungle. Straightweed trying to jump on in there. Is going to land the Cyclone. There is the Wild Growth on the Llama to try to keep him up on these front lines, trying to keep him fighting here. Llama is going to take... Yeah, exactly. Llama is certainly the raid boss. Going to be able to take down Straightweed. And now he'll back off here for the time being. Not really looking for the dragon. That's not going to be spawning up here for a little while yet.
Hello, Darius.
But just trying to... Well, yeah, Darius. Yeah, Darius, like you said, there's alternative. Trying to find the dunk on the Llama does, in fact, get the burn. At least kill going over to Pac. That's, yeah, just another one for him there. So ends up being, I believe, a 2-for-1 here when it's all said and done for the Kings.
Yeah, but they managed to finally strike back. Darius once again missing the execute by just the slightest of margins. It was interesting if you actually watched the engagement when it first started as the Darius kind of blast cones over into the waiting arms of the recalling Lulu. That he was almost instantly exhausted and then polymorphed. So it was funny to just watch him stand there in front of them as the cupcake just go like, well, I guess I'll wait for this spell to run out. But that is the Darius reality, especially when you're against the Lulu. I mentioned this in Champion Select where, you know, you polymorph him and he really just... He has to stand there. He can't do anything about it. But in that scenario, no one else was there to kill him, so he does manage to secure another kill back for themselves. And again, you take what you can get when you're in Blue's team scenario right now. They are 7,000 gold behind. They're coming up to the 3rd dragon. Likely, if they secure this next one, we'll be looking at a 25-minute soul, which is a brisk pace for just about anyone. So we'll have to see if they try something, which they do right here.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to look for something here. Antagonist trying to wall him off. Not going to be able to do so, though, so immediately backs off toward that dragon. Going to be spawning up here real soon. In fact, throw up my objective timers here. Yeah, in about 2 seconds, we're going to see that first Hextech dragon spawn in. Question mark jumping in onto All Out Potato. All Out Potato able to avoid the pullback here, but I don't think he's just going to be able to avoid Aatrox proper. Yeah, that'll be the solo kill up on the top side here, as it's going to be alternative jumping on in there, trying to jump through, trying to find an execute onto Trito, but not going to pick it up there. It's Wienerboop, but jumps on in there with a little bit of help from Antagonist to pick up the kill. Antagonist on the wrong side of things. He's a bit too aggressive. He will die here as Wienerboop, and he's going to try to do everything himself, dropping down those auto attacks. You see just how strong he is. Able to take down, or at least able to take down the health bars of 3 separate members of Bob there, kind of defending that dragon by his lonesome. It's a 3rd dragon going on over here to the Kings.
Yeah, they're on pace for that 25-minute soul, like I mentioned, and you saw a little bit of over-aggression from Antagonist, definitely feeling himself a little bit, and got caught on the wrong end of 3 people. But, you know, you give away 1 kill for the 3rd dragon, I'd say that's worth to just about anybody, so I think we can forgive him for that one. I think his team forgives him as well, because they're sitting very comfortably in the 8K gold lead. So, I don't know, I'm not really sure if there's much to say for the side of BBB. Just keep doing what they've been doing, continue to win their lanes and take those dragons.
Yeah, I mean, really, when it's all said and done, you just got to keep bleeding out Bob. You just got to keep finding objectives across the map here, and you got to let question mark just cook. You got to let him cook.
Let him cook.
Can't believe, man, I'm 20. That made me feel old. Question, I'm 27. I shouldn't be saying those things, but nah, you got to let him cook. You really do. As you see there, fighting over the Rift Herald. Not going to take it, though. Going to go ahead and pull on back here. As you see, just a couple of unfortunate situations around the map here. Llama going to jump in. He's going to try to find the execute onto Sailor Moonshine. Push back on into the jungle, though. That just buys him at least a second more of life. He'll eventually fall anyway. Sailor Moonshine will. As Pac now finds himself in a little bit of trouble. Here comes Llama. Llama going to punch Straightweed. That is going to be the command Shockwave. Does find Llama. Does find question mark. it does ultimately keep them alive, although Llama's still certainly hunting for it. See him charging up another Q there. Not going to fire it off. Just focusing that push on this top lane tower. But as I was saying, it's really kind of becoming a bleed them out kind of game where you're not taking much at a time here if you're the Kings, but you're taking little bits and pieces. And Bob can really do nothing but just kind of watch. Although Alternative trying to fight there, that might have been a bit too aggressive here for the Kings. Trito getting by with just a sliver of health. Straightweed trying to catch up here. Llama coming in from the side, trying to be the hero. Not going to be able to do so, though. Straightweed does end up picking up the kill. As I believe also just barely getting out of there was Wienerboopin as well. So ultimately just finding one kill there. But they are able to take down Trito. Alternative punishing them for a bit of over-aggressiveness there.
I was going to say deja vu like about a minute ago when I saw that Vi running in from the right side of your screen, from the blue side that is not her own, but it looks like the Aatrox going to go down here. Maybe.
Yeah, Aatrox in a 3v1, although he does use that dash over the wall. Is he going to be able to find the healing he needs? Command Shockwave coming through, fighting with a sliver of health. No, that's going to be the shutdown.
Other half of the map.
Picked up here. Going to go on over to the Orianna. Meanwhile, Antagonist using the ultimate. Going to dash on in there. Pick up another kill onto All Out Potato. Antagonist starting to get a few kills here across the board. 3, 2, and 4. Hasn't been the primary carry, but he is certainly starting to do a little more as he starts to move on into that second item here. Looks like it might be Death Cap. I'm not quite sure. Has that needlessly large rod. But we'll see where he goes kind of from there. Has the fully stacked tier, can go into the tier item whenever, if that's the option.
No.
But, yeah, we'll see where he goes
here
in that build.
So I was going to say, the deja vu is very much strong right now. When I saw that Vi once again running in from the blue side jungle that is not her own and catching out someone retreating from pushing it away from the top side, we saw that exact play take place with the Maokai in the last game BBB played, where the Maokai came in from the left and actually caught out the Amumu. And then the Orianna is getting engaged on.
Yeah, the Orianna in some trouble here. That's the ultimate pop tier by Sailor Moonshine. Does it keep them alive here as they try to retreat back to their own base? Pox can be caught out. Wienerboopin on a rampage. Here comes Llama charging up another Q. Doesn't really have any options, though. Just going to let it expire. Going back toward that mid lane. The push continues. Maybe even turning their attention toward that Baron. As you see, All Out Potato continuing to split up topside. They definitely know Bob does. But can they do anything about it here? Or could this just be a bait for the fight? It certainly looks like it here. Antagonist does find the kill on the Straightweed. Here comes question mark, turning his attention to All Out Potato. All Out Potato taking tower shots. He will die. Meanwhile, Antagonist does eventually finish off the kill on to Sailor Moonshine. Antagonist, he'll be the next one to die. Alternative does pick that one up, but he will just die for it himself. That's going to be the ace picked up here by the Kings, and that's going to be the Baron. It's going to be a 4-man Baron here for the Kings.
Yeah, once again on Baron, once again doing a play where it's deja vu. They made the play in the blue side jungle. They made the play where they got a little bit aggressive in the red side jungle, and then they set up around Baron. They warded out. They stand in the choke points, and this time they met resistance and they closed the trap. And we saw it work last game, and I'll tell you right now, it worked again, and it's working well.
Yeah, I mean, really, when it's all said and done, I think if you're facing the Kings in this next round, we know if they do win this contest, I should say if, although at this point it is an overwhelming Kings advantage. If you're facing the Kings at this point, you've got to have an answer. You know what they're going to want to do. You know they're going to want to get aggressive and try to jump all over you. So, do you build a strong disengage comp? Do you try to counter-engage them? Do you try to go aggressive yourself? Maybe try to force them on the back foot? I'm not quite sure how you really attack this King squad, but we'll see here again. It's going to be Leftovers taking them on next. Yeah, this is going to be a last-ditch effort here. Hextech Soul picked up here by the Kings. Straightweed jumping on in there, gets a little bit of shielding, but does die for it. Llama, he's going to find a couple kills in the fight, and finally, it will be just Sailor Moonshine left all alone here, just a wee little support, trying to save this game.
Run.
Question mark, not even needed there, pushing up topside. Llama will catch up. One more Q will do it, and a second straight ace here for the Kings, as I think that'll be the end of the contest here. I think. Don't know if you have a route per se to get on in there, but I think this one's just past the point of no return.
Yeah.
I really think, even if this game continues on, don't feel good saying it. Don't like to call things before they're truly over, but I think the Kings pretty much have this one in hand.
Yeah, that one fight is almost certainly the check before the checkmate here. you've taken the final objective that is even left to take. You now have the Hextech Soul, arguably one of the more powerful souls still currently in how it exists in the game. There's nothing left to take but the Nexus is the short answer for BBB right now. They have played the waiting game. They've been aggressive where they needed to. And I think right now they're just going to group up and push in for the end. I also cannot fault Blue Team for making that attempt. They really had to make an attempt. It was all or nothing there. They knew the game was in a rough position, and if they didn't make that objective, then it was a slow bleed either way, all the way to the Nexus. So I think they made the right decision, and they had to go for something, and it's a shame it didn't work out, but I always like seeing the attitude. I will always prefer the valiant final stand to the slow bleed, but we'll see it go.
I mean, what is the saying here as we see once again the Kings just kind of running them down one by one? I'd rather die standing than live on my knees. You're kind of seeing that right now here from the side of Bob. They're not afraid to fight. They certainly aren't. You see All Out Potato just trying to do anything against this top lane Aatrox. They're trying to fight. They just can't win these fights here at this point. The margin is just too big as antagonists will go ahead and burn.
FF.
So double-digit kills here for the side of Bob, but that will lead to the FF here, and that'll move the Kings on here to the next losers round 3 as they do win this one here in 25 minutes. So ultimately, yeah, I mean, I don't know how many different ways we can say it here, Miguel. It's just another aggressive come out from the get-go win here for the Kings.
Yeah, they grabbed it by the throat and they took it all the way home. There's genuinely very little left to say. The Kings are the Kings for a reason, but to give props to BOB, who certainly made a good tournament. They gave them a run for their money, and they tried there, and they genuinely made them work for it. They did not go quietly into the night. They took everything they could, and they did not die. They did not live kneeling. They died standing, and that's respectable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, that will move the Kings on to losers round 3. Just one step away from that finals. They're going to be taking on Leftovers. And, of course, remember, interesting fact, Leftovers, they're the ones who put the Kings in the losers bracket in the first place. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. Of course, that'll do it for Miguel and I, though. We'll actually have the next couple games back on the other stream over on the Tournament King side of things. So again, that'll do it for us here as I go ahead and wrap it up. Again, big thank you for having me. Of course, lots of fun casting my first stream here casting my first tournament here on the Tournament Kingdom server. Big thank you to Miguel as well for casting. Miguel, any final thoughts?
Not really. Just to say once again, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure casting alongside you, LaRue, and I hope to be back sometime very, very soon.
Yeah, certainly hope to be back soon here. So we'll go ahead and send you on back over to the other stream. But again, for Miguel, I am LaRue. Hope you had much fun watching this one as much as I had bringing it to you. Until next time, you've been watching the Tournament Kingdom stream.